We are live. How's it going today? How is it going? Today is Sunday. I'm going to check the date really quickly just for anyone who's watching this, wondering when this was done. September 24th. So if you are watching on YouTube, of course, timestamps will be below in the description. And otherwise, we're going to be hanging out live with people showing up here. And then we'll get into the readings at the right time if you're just hanging out with me. So, hope everyone had a good week. Hope everyone's having a great day. Hope everyone's feeling great. Hey, Angela. Yay. You are all first here today. Sabrina Robson. Hey, good to see you. And good to see you too, Angela. Good afternoon, Jessica Johnston. Good to see you. How's everybody doing? Hey, Simone. Good to see you. Yeah. No, it's good to see you here. It's cool to see you on time, but never pressure, of course. And who's to say that whenever you show up isn't the on time for you, for the messages you need to hear or just whatever. So, ooh, there's this cable in the camera view here. That's fine though. Hey, Molly. Oh, thank you. I hope you're well too. Andy Pandy Pie, so good to see you. I hope you are doing great out there. Hey, Jay. Hope all is well, Brandon. Yeah, if it's not there, it's getting there. Hope all is well with you, for sure. Hey, baby doll. Good afternoon. Yuki. Hey, Yuki. So you live in the U.S. That is correct. Oh no, recovering from COVID. Well, I hope you feel better soon. Not always a fun one, I'd say, at all. But hopefully that is a speedy recovery. You're feeling better soon. Oh, nice, incredible week. That's awesome. Hey, that's perfect. From Berlin, Germany. Hey, hope you're doing great over there. It definitely is big shift. Sandy Pandy Pie is what I'm getting to say once I read your comment. Happy Sunday, Heather. Awesome. So we're gonna hang out for just a second longer, and I'm gonna hang out with you guys. Can chat a little bit, um, shoot the crap or whatever sayings the kids use these days, and then at the right time, we'll jump into the channel timeless readings and all that for sure. Hey, Kayla. Hey, baby Jean from Pennsylvania. Hello. Thanks, Narami Spirit. I so appreciate hearing it, and it means a lot. I'm really glad to hear it. Okay. Oh, heck yeah. My friend finally got the gold membership, and she's so happy. Awesome. Well, I'm super glad to hear that she's very happy with it. That's always part of the aim as well, of course. But I really appreciate that feedback, and it means a lot to know people are happy with it as well, and to hear that feedback. Not that other people haven't, said that, but I, of course, like to keep up with that. And but that's super cool. Hey, Amy, good to see you. Britt, just love catching your lives. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Britt. That means a lot too. Long time no see. Oh, hey, Captipa. Hope you're doing great today. Just bought your book on Amazon today. Awesome. I hope it does whatever is for your highest good for you. That's super cool. I don't know if I should keep this to myself or say it. I think sometimes, what would be for that? Spirit guides, guide me through this one. I think sometimes it's better to work in silence and not tell people until things are like ready to go or close to ready to go. I've been thinking about going deeper into that book though too, and either making like a part two or something. And I say this like a bunch of lives. I've been saying this too much instead of doing it. So because I have other things to do, but I would like to go further into that. It's been on my mind recently. I'm gonna flip the camera real quick. Beep beep boop. Hey, Ms. Rad, good to see you. Heather, heck yeah. So we're gonna hang out just a second longer. Then we're gonna start the. When did I start channeling? As far as like consciously channeling and like connecting, it started towards the beginning of like 2017, I would say. A lot of the times when people ask me that, like my spirit guides will jump in before I have a chance to answer, and to me they'll say like, "Oh, you've been channeling your whole life." Sometimes when I'm talking to someone and someone asks a question about me, it's funny because like I'll hear them answer their question, but it's like they're talking about me like in a third person almost. Like they'll be like, "Oh, he's been channeling his whole life," but it's like that person doesn't always hear my spirit guide's telling me that. So then I have to like relay a message like, "Oh, they're saying he's been channeling his whole life, but he is me," and or I can reword it, however. But yeah. So 2017 is when I started, and it's been a whole journey from there. It took a few years to kind of, or at least a while to get to where I am now with it, if that makes sense, where it's more uncovered and or something like that. I feel like I don't have the words where I'm expressing it, that kind of information in the way that they're happy with yet, but it took some time and things and effort to really get it to where it is now or something like that. So that's what I'd say. Jay's asking, where was I self-trained? The way I'm hearing to answer that is like the universe was my guide. So it's kind of like yes and no, if that makes sense. Because the path was very divinely orchestrated with like who I met, like people who channeled for themselves. I was guided through the experiences where I would start channeling for others or start encountering the tools or the things that would help me out. So almost like a bit of both, if that makes sense. So that's kind of how they would. That's the gist of what they're trying to get me to say. Whether I said it perfectly or not, I'll ask to do better next time if it wasn't as good as it could be. So I'll answer this and then we'll start the reading soon here, because we're going to start a collective reading soon for everyone here and then go through our normal thing here unless they redirect it. But can you choose not to hear your guides? What I'm getting as the answer for that is no. But the other thing I was going to say is like, well, at least like with where I'm at with it, like why the question is almost like, why would you at that point like choose to not hear your guides when it's like helpful information, it's divine guidance, it's telling you what you need to hear, it's telling you the accurate information. I honestly like love it and embrace it. It enhances my life. It makes everything better. It's one of my favorite parts of life, honestly, is the channeling and connecting to, well, being connected to source and getting that information, hearing my spirit guides, and all the fun I get to have with that, but also the contribution I get to have to my and others' lives through that is such a blessing. And I've never really had a bad experience with it, if that makes sense. So I'd see no reason to turn it off, you know, because they won't bother me in a way that bugs me or anything like that, unless I'm being a brat, you know. Which, and so that's what that's kind of how I'm getting to answer that. Okay, so we're gonna start the collective reading. If you are here, whether you're here live or here in the future on YouTube, it's meant to be just for you when you see it. It's meant to be for everyone here. So I'm just gonna flow with the channel messages, spirit guides and angels and source. And if it's for the highest good, you know, your spirit guides can join in. If it's for the highest good of both of our systems, if it fits the reading, if it's at the vibration that we need it to be, it's, you know, all that stuff. So what was I saying? Let me get back to where I was trying to get to here. So yeah, channeling messages from my spirit guides and angels and source, and we're gonna just flow with the messages coming through and see what shows up intuitively, channeled wise. Here we go. So first thing they're showing is a bee, like a bumblebee or just your standard bee. I know there's millions of types of, well, maybe not millions. There's a lot of different types of bees here. So this bee here, it's interesting because they're almost showing it like if you've ever seen those, I'm getting into an explanation they don't want me to here. But anyways, they're almost showing it in third person where there's this map and this bee's kind of flying around, and you see the little dotted lines after the bees going to this like red X or something like that. So the word I'm getting with this is journey. And the message is like, if things are moving for you, or like some of you might be like literally actually physically moving, or you're making moves in your life or moving things around in your life, like changing. An example I always seem to get recently is like changing positions at a job, or like changing jobs, or people are making moves in your life. Like you are being called, one thing I'm hearing right now is you are being called to change things, and this is just common message recently with things changing, honestly, recently, or things are just changing for you, but everything's moving in the perfect direction, even if things seem a bit haphazard, or like if you think about moving when half your belongings are packed into boxes, half of them are accessible, it's kind of like a bit of a mess. So if life feels like a bit of a mess right now, if, you know, I feel like that's going to be okay. Like that's okay. It's just, spirit moving everything where it needs to go. For others of you, you're going to be called to go on a journey soon, whether it's a spiritual journey, or you're called to make a bunch of changes, or you're just called in a new direction. For some reason, that's what this bee is symbolizing for you here in this reading, though bee can symbolize many, many different things. Because it reminds me of migration, honestly, like the visual, I guess the energy, what they're showing me. I'm not sure if bees like super migrate personally. Like I mean, they had to spread around the continent somehow, but let me sit with any further messages they have for you with all this here. Yeah, and if this resonates as a different way to say it, like if you're called to migrate things in your life, like that's also perfect, is what I'd say. Like everything's moving in the proper direction, like spirit has a plan. Things are moving around perfectly. It just gets messy sometimes when things are changing. So next thing they like to get to here, we just talked about moving boxes, but they're showing me a box here. It's like a cardboard box, and as the intuitive visual, the channel visual zooms in on this cardboard box and goes like into it. It's almost like a wormhole, or it's like this, what's the best way to say this? It's almost like a weird like wormhole kind of tunnel. Like there's all this lights, and it's, let me stay with it a second longer. Sorry. I feel like that's gonna be how you're feeling soon, honestly, is like you went through a wormhole, whether you're going through a major transition or it's just internal, and you like wake up across a week and you're like, man, I just feel different, and my life's taken some turns I didn't expect, or this person's acting weird over here. So it's not literally an alternate dimension. That gets into topics I'm not sure I want to get into for this reading, honestly. But it might feel like it in some ways because you're raising your vibration and like the way things are shifting around you. So really what I'm hearing again is like some of you are just gonna feel like you went through a wormhole, everything's transitioning, but things are getting better. And it might be surprising. It's like surprising innocuous events are like what kickstarts this, or the changes you're making that seem innocuous, like suddenly have a huge compound effect like over time, and like everything's like better. So one thing I'm also being guided to say is to pay attention to your habits, and even if you're can find or choose one thing that's going to improve your life over time and make things better, whether you want to call it a cornerstone habit that kind of changes other things around it as well. I'm borrowing from The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, which is a book with that. Well, they are, because that's what I heard with that message. But sometimes it just takes like one thing to start changing everything. One, because it's like maybe it's changing your vibration is something I'm getting. Two, because as you're shifting with that one thing and it's compounding, you might be starting to notice how other things are affecting you differently. So what does that mean? Like, for example, if you start like meditating every day and you're noticing like, oh, like after like a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks of this, I'm noticing I feel more present, I'm happier, I feel more joy. I'm not as pulled around by life. I'm not as bothered by things that were bothering me before. But you might start to notice like, oh, this thing I've been doing is really affecting me more energetically or negatively than I realized it was. So like, okay, I'm just going to do less of that. Oh, when I do this, I actually feel a lot better. I'm going to start doing this a bit more. And so there might be like one habit and it seems like, oh, how is one habit going to change my life? But trust me, one thing that's helping you over time consistently is better than nothing over time consistently that's helping you. And it can really make changes over time. And I think sometimes we beat ourselves up because we're like, oh, I need to change these 5 things right now, completely transform the script of my life and my habits and everything. And then we get overwhelmed and like we quit halfway through because it's too much. And maybe you can handle that, or it's time to do that in your life. And you're like, nope, I feel the energetic support. We're just doing it. That's cool. But if that's not you, 1 or 2 things, maybe 3, but that might be stretching it even, are really going to help you transform things is what I'd say, or just going to help you improve your life over time. And maybe that's going to be the wormhole, honestly. It's just like one habit that changes everything. Okay, next thing here. They're giving me the word marketing, interestingly enough. Like they're gonna be kind of, and we'll see if there's multiple messages. Cause sometimes like I'll start getting a message and like there's one group of you that like this, that they're going to give a message for one group of you, another message for another, and maybe sometimes a third or even fourth or beyond. But they're showing me marketing, they're showing me sales. And honestly, they're also showing like junk with this, which is interesting. So let me sit with that, see where they're going with this message here. What I'm getting with like this, the words I'm hearing are, it's time to learn. So anything you would like to get good at, it's time to learn about it more and dive deeper into it than you have before. You might think you have a good baseline of knowledge around this topic, but if you're not quite yet, well, let me see what the exact thing that would be helpful and for your highest good here. If you haven't got to where you'd like to get to yet, 1, like, yeah, sure, maybe it's just going to take more time and effort over time. 2, it might be a good idea to look into learning more and seeing if that's helpful for you in getting better at this thing or getting more results you're looking to get. Or the other thing they're showing me is there might be some hidden knowledge that if you read between the lines with like what you're picking up on from people who are successful at what you're trying to get good at, for example, even if it's just a hobby or a skill. It doesn't have to be marketing and sales and business, but it could be. As you start to read between the lines with what people are saying, you start to pick up on some like hidden facts or some things that people aren't saying that's actually really important that you can like implement, say like as an example in your business. And like that really potentially helps you or helps you figure a lot more out. One thing they're reminding me of is a memory is, how deep should I get into this story here? I'll just talk. I'll just see what they'd like me to say about this. But I used to be really into, I'm still into guitar, but really into guitar. Like I was full bore, like, no, I'm going to get like super insanely good at guitar and music and have a music career and do the band thing, rock band and stuff like that. And I was really into like metal and like shred and like guitar solos and all that stuff. And I had this, there's a couple different lessons in this that would be helpful potentially for you. 1, I had this guitar teacher who was, pretty good, honestly. On a personal person level, I had some lessons there. And there's so many different topics I could get into with this one story, but I'm going to try and keep it focused. But anyways, like I was getting results, I was doing it well. And then I went to this guitar like workshop thing that was like a week long, and it was like 8 hours a day. You were just like getting better at guitar. Like there were like all these exercises, all these like instruction, like how to practice it right, how to do it right. And so you were like going really hard for like a week straight every day, like literally just playing, practicing, getting better at guitar for 8 hours. And one of the things that really clicked as I went through all of this was there was a technique that my guitar instructor had taught me about, but there was a way to implement it where in like multiple areas of your playing that would improve everything, at least for me. that he didn't tell me about. He just kind of talked about it in this one specific way and then kind of dropped it. But when I went to the guitar camp, the person putting it on, or one of the instructors that was part of it, like talked about like, oh, you can use this technique with like every area of your playing to help with like all this stuff. Or maybe it was like a small thing. And this, like the one little thing that I picked up from this 40 like hours, this 8 hours a week or 8 hours a day, like all week thing, like really is one of the things that push the envelope and helps me get past like a certain plateau in my playing and like really take it to a really high level, and start playing like at a pro level essentially. And one of the reasons I'm saying all that is like you could delve into this and just get like that one thing that you're missing that like kind of ties it all together or helps you get really hit to the next level. The other thing that I'm trying to get to with all this, like where are we going with this? That is kind of the story, and that is kind of the message that they wanted to say with all that, is like you might just pick up on like one thing. So another thing I was going to say with that as like a result of the story is like, you know, if you're like really gung-ho in a certain area, it might also be helpful to learn from another lesson from that is like learning from additional people a little bit, not to the point where it completely like confuses you, but see if you pick up on something really important over here that you're not getting from over here. And once you put it together or add this in, it's like, boom. But that's kind of what they're talking about with like the secret knowledge or like the learning. Or one of the things they're talking about with all that is you might be missing like one piece that takes it to the next level for you. For others of you with all this topic here, if you're just starting out at something, like really, they're recommending just learning as much as you can in the best ways possible for you. And you don't need to overburden yourself with like 10 different perspectives, but go really deep with like learning about the topic. It's tempting as a beginner to think you know more than you actually do, or see someone who's a pro. I don't know why I'm hearing this. And sometimes you might be like, oh, I could do that. I just have to learn this thing and these 12 quick tips to do X, Y, Z. And then, but sometimes there's more to it. So you're kind of being called to go deeper into a skill you're learning, or just starting out maybe, or learning about it to help you out. And I'm going to get just a little bit more clarity, then we're going to move to the next message here. They're just saying learning is going to be very powerful right now. So anywhere you're learning about what you want to do, perfect. So I'll leave it there, and I don't want to talk about that for 12 years in this video. That's how I end up here for 4.5 hours in the lives, which I also love, the lives and getting to do it. So that's not a big problem if I do. But let's see what's next here to like to get to. There's going to be a shellfish next. So let me see what's up with the shellfish that they like to bring through. Weirdly enough, not the direction I expected them to go with this, but they're showing like this concept of evolution. Like the shellfish is evolving into something else that has more mobility under the water. It becomes like this like predator or something like that, which is really interesting. You are evolving into like the next steps for you is what I'm getting, or like the next level. And it's really time for that. The collective needs that. Like the collective kind of needs people who are pushing the envelope in their given field or how they're meant to impact the earth. Definitely not people who are playing small or dimming their lights or dimming their abilities to like kind of appease other people, or not like piss off people. Even if it's like, I know this is a touchy topic sometimes, but even if it's money, like even if it's like you're like, oh, I don't want to make too much so I don't make my mom feel bad because my mom doesn't make much, or my sister doesn't make much, or my friends all only make this much, and if I make a ton of money then they're gonna be weird and stuff like, and they very well might be, or they might be like inspired by it. You know, there's more possibilities than just that. They might be very happy for you if you have really good friends and like celebrating and be like, hey, that's awesome, we love it, congrats. And but beyond all that here, if you're pushing the envelope, you're gonna be forcing people to grow and realize that there's more for them or more possible for them. And as I've heard it said before, like if they see you growing and like achieving this thing or shining, and they realize that they're not satisfied with their current circumstances, because if they are, they're not going to be bothered by you shining and hitting these next levels. And they'll just be like, oh, awesome, I'm really content over here, but I'm super happy for you over here, or whatever, at least indifferent. But if they're bothered by it, that's like, oh, they have something they need to change and they need to grow and figure that out and become better in some way. So they're not like feisty and sad, I guess, about other people's whatever success or shining. So your job is to shine and figure out how, maybe even if you're not sure if you're shining or you're not sure how to do that. So there is a lot of self-development around shining that might need to be done, or is something you're finding yourself in or is being done that's going to pay dividends. Because when you're not afraid to shine or be seen, you're not afraid to do well, like so much is possible. And it gets you out of your head and all that, like those recurring thoughts of like, oh, what is this person think? And you stop getting pulled around by other people and you start to go in the direction you would like to go, achieve things you'd like to achieve, or at least give yourself a fighting chance instead of, fighting through all this stuff and trying to do what it takes to succeed or all that stuff. It just might get easier. And it's not really about being selfish, if that makes sense either. Like, it's not necessarily selfish to shine, even if part of the reason you're doing it is doing it for yourself. Sometimes it's just what you're called to do. And there's a reason it's showing up in this reading, if that makes sense. So I'm going to regroup and just see where they'd like to go next, or if they'd like to go further into that message for the highest good for you guys. They're kind of like moving me along. They're like, okay, they're like, you're meant to shine. Next question. So, okay, you guys are meant to shine. That's kind of what they're saying with that. Let's move on to the next thing. They're showing me an armadillo as well. And they're showing you guys like armored up about life. Whether you're defending yourself or you're saying a lot of prayers for divine protection, or you're like scared right now and you're kind of hiding behind the armor, even if it's emotionally, maybe mentally, maybe physically for some of you in some strange way. And the message with this, though, let me see where they'd like to go with this. So here's the message. Not all armor is necessary, but some is. And I'm going to have to sit with them and ask them to clarify that so it makes sense for you guys and is helpful for you. Like, if you're over armored and you're over encumbered in some way and you're not doing anything, that's a problem, is kind of what they're saying. However, if you're armored up in some way, you're divinely protected, you're good, you're making moves, you feel like you can live your life, like, that's okay. So I'm not sure why they're providing that information right now. Maybe that's just to help you, if you're already in a healthy position, you're like questioning it, like maybe just to help you realize you're healthy, or to help you kind of change your mindset or what you're doing around some of that, so you're living a healthier balance or a healthier life. Never mind. I'm just going to ask them to talk. I'm going to get out of the way here if I'm in the way. It's really to help you have an appropriate level of armoredness so you can be effective in the world instead of hiding from it. That's what they're saying. So they're about done with that collective reading, actually. So I'm going to see if there are any other messages that would be for your highest good while we're here before we close out. They're showing me a zebra. Zebra spirit animal. Okay, go in a different direction. The zebra is like, it has this like crown or tiara kind of thing going on with like a ruby on the front of it. There's like amethyst on it. There's diamonds. It's really interesting. It's like gold or bronze. And the zebra is like bowing to you as this intuitive visual plays out here. As is often the common message I get with zebra, just dealing with something there for a second. It's about uniqueness, and like, you're meant to be unique. You're meant to be like crowned with uniqueness and like shine that out, and like kind of not, to a healthy degree, not care what other people think, or not be affected by that so much that you dim that down. Because again, the world needs unique people who are being themselves and shining a light in that area, so other people can be themselves, if that makes sense, and have I don't know if you want to say way shower for that, or have a light that is an inspiration for them for that. The more people this is going to sound silly, but there's a meaning behind this that's a little bit different than the words that are about to come out. The more people are, being themselves, the more people who are going to be themselves. And you might be like, that's dumb and obvious. But what I also mean is, the more people who are being themselves, the more other people are going to see that and be like, oh, it's safe to be ourselves. Oh, maybe it's cool to be ourselves. Or, it's like, this person doing it, so can I, in my unique way. And then, it kind of perhaps cascades, or at least gives enough people permission that maybe some of the judgment in the world crumbles more, that maybe more people will do what they're meant to do, and the world will take a different turn for the highest good and bring more light in. To the point even where society becomes a place that people would like to live, or transforms more that way, which it is slowly. And I know some of you would fight me on that and be like, no, society is the devil. And I'd say it probably can transform, even if we very much dislike what's the cards that society has handed some of us. Or I'm not saying that right. So, but you understand what I'm saying, hopefully, where it's like, in some ways, like we are also perhaps part of society, and us changes society in some way, or can have that impact. Okay, they liked that, so I'm guessing I'm done there. So hope that helped, resonated. Do whatever is for your highest good. Self-expression is going to be very key right now as well, like creativity. Even if it's art in your home and you kind of like paint it and you hide it away from the world and shovel over your cover board and like hide it. Even just like that for you is going to be important, and that creative energy is going to flow out into the rest of your life and help you express yourself in other areas, even if it's surprising, it doesn't make sense. It's kind of like an energetic thing. So I would be working on your creativity even in small ways. Like I don't care if you doodle for 5 minutes on like a little notepad and you're like, this is the saddest smiley face stick man I've ever drawn. It's like, that's okay. You're doing something. You're trying. that can evolve. You can get better. So anything else I need to say though before we're done here? I believe that's it. We do have a last second visit from our friend Grasshopper, who is very prevalent this year. With different channel messages and different people. But with Grasshopper here, again, we started this reading out about a journey. He's talking about a journey as well. He's putting on this like straw hat. He has this briefcase. I don't know if it's like a Huckleberry Finn reference, and I hardly remember that book. I barely remember it, but he's going on this journey here. Maybe he's like a salesman or something like that, but he's got business to do. And so again, don't be afraid to go on a journey, try something new, try something different. I'm hearing this quote, like life won't wait for you. So I feel like I need to be careful with that sometimes, because it's not like, freak out and do everything at once. It's more like, if you're supposed to do something, if life is calling you in a direction, you have an opportunity that's for you, you're supposed to take it. Like, it's kind of like, what are you waiting for? Or if there's something you'd really like to try and you're just not doing it, it's been like 3 months. It's like, okay, like, what are you, if you could do it, and if you can muster up the courage to do it, like, what are you waiting for? Like life doesn't always wait around for us to be ready. Sometimes life is trying to force us to be ready through doing the thing, if that makes sense. So try not to wait around. If you're in a holding pattern, that's one thing. If there's things that you are out of your hands that are kind of keeping you in a position, that's one thing. But if there are things that are in your hands and you can do it or give it a shot, like don't wait around too long. Let me get the right message again. Just know that there are things coming up that you'll have a chance at. Don't wait around too long with them. Once you have the opportunity, you'd like to do it, it's right there in your hands. Just seize the day. It's kind of what I'm getting. So I hope that helps. We're moving on. I'm going to hang out with you guys for a second, then we'll do fire signs and all our good stuff. So hope that was great. Resonates so much. Just created a meditation space that started a more in-depth. Oh, that's awesome. I'm sure there's more coming in the comment section, but I just want to say that's awesome right off the bat from what I read there. But I'm glad it resonated. Felt this one. Perfect, Angela. Thanks for letting me know, and I'm super glad. Energy has been crazy today. How's it get any better than that? Thanks, resonates so much. You're welcome, Amy, and thanks for letting me know. I'm so glad to hear it. Crazy, spot on, perfect, always. Super spot on is always a big part of the aim. That was for Steph. That was meant to be for anyone who saw it and whenever they saw it. So just collective reading, just very helpful. Perfect. The authentic mystic. I am glad to hear it. Bless you and have a beautiful day. Not that you're leaving, but hi, did I just start? We just finished the collective reading. The wormhole part at the beginning really resonated. Nice. I mean, well, hopefully that's nice for you too, but I feel like it's leading to a good place, and it's meant to. Yesterday legit felt like when I hear that. Exactly what I needed. Perfect, Annie. So glad to hear it. So glad to hear it. And my intention is that I continue to deliver that in the highest and best ways I can, or be a conduit of that, or facilitate it, whatever the right word and phrase is, that's for the highest good. Same with the leap of faith message. Perfect. The grasshopper visual straw hat. Yeah. That seems like it'd be a fun, like, metal, you know, those like metal statues people make where it's like metal cutouts and they kind of like, maybe there's like two slabs on either side and like a top that they put on, and then they like add like a little straw hat like design on the top, whether it's metal or they just put a straw hat on it, or I don't know. That was kind of a visual I just got randomly as well with that. So if someone needs an art project that does metal work or welding or something, I don't know. Hey, well, I hope you feel better, Dana. Conscious motherhood with Denise. You asked what to do if a door appears to open and then doesn't work out. What is the universe trying to? I'm guessing you were about to say like trying to do with that or say with that. One thing I was hearing instantly, at least perhaps for you, was like, that could just be leading to the next thing. Or it's something that could be teaching you something for the next thing. As far as, let me see if they give me more information that would be helpful for you and just for other people tuning in here. Sometimes an open door is something you're meant to experience, not something you're meant to walk through forever, is kind of the message I'm getting with that. And the other flash or memory I was getting with it was, and this might not be the particular area of life that you were talking about that this pertained to, but it reminded me of a situation where I had a potential, like years ago, potential love interest, if you will, and if you will, and it was like everything seemed like, oh yes, this person's showing up, and they seem like they're interested, and da 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 da, and all this stuff, and all these other people are saying, oh yeah, da 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 da, love is coming in, and da da da. And it seems to line up perfectly, and then it just crashes, and then you get other, when you get the actual information that's helpful, it'd be like, oh yeah, the divine was like divinely protecting you from something if something just fell apart. Like it was like, oh, that actually wouldn't have been the right route for me. But that could have been like the only person or like right person for the time that was like temporarily a thing to like give me hope and love, or to like keep me going and to inspire me to take certain actions in my life, like taking TikTok more seriously. Just if this person was into like business, I'm like, oh, now I need to focus on business, and that's what I want to do anyways, so I'm just gonna take this inspiration and bam. And like but then it works out in this other area that like goes really well, and it gets you in the right direction or shoots you off in the right direction for you. So the universe could be doing multiple things with that, and try not to think it's just about the one doorway, because it's not, and it's not always just about that. So, and if none of that other explanation around that makes sense, see what shows up in the future. And sometimes we are just being prepared for the right door through that temporary door, and we're working certain things. I remember hearing this from someone, but like working things out of our system, like if it is love, as an example, like we're maybe hitting this temporary person before the real love shows up, to work certain like fears out of our system, to work any things that we're caught up on from our previous relationships out of our system, and that kind of maybe goes to the wayside, and the person you're supposed to date shows up or something like that, next at least. So I think I've heard someone talking about that before, and I that was kind of showing up as a potential like idea for you in like these different explanations of that. So hopefully that makes sense. Are we on an Ella? No, I was just channeling and kind of delving into something someone asked here. Sarah says, is it possible her leap of faith hasn't showed up yet? I was getting yes. It is possible. I'll answer this real quickly, and then we'll... Arla's saying they've been getting slapped in the face with the do the thing energy, but also that they need to rest. I really dislike when those messages come through as like a conflicting, like, or seemingly conflicting things. For you, honestly, I would be doing the thing if you can, but if you can, I'd also be taking additional time around that to rest or conserve energy or go on walks or do something leisurely that focuses your mind in a different way, if that makes sense. Because both can be true. It doesn't always mean you need to like take a week off and not do anything. It could be like, hey, like try, if you can, if you have the schedule, like focus your time a little bit more so that you're resting and also doing the thing. And it could be like, okay, one day after work, I'm doing the thing. One day after work, I am resting. Or as an example, I'm not saying that's your situation, but that was kind of a good explanation I'm hearing. So is there something better that would be better for me to say here? I'm getting that it really is the right idea. And I honestly, I understand. I very much have an annoyance when that starts to show up for me as well. Cause I'm like, oh, which is it? Do I need to rest or do I need to like hit my business hard, work 12-hour days, sleep 6-hour nights, only eat powdered, I don't know, creatine in the morning and run backwards for 4 miles at 3 a.m. And I don't know, whatever people purport today. But hopefully that helps in some way. Thanks, Angela. Okay, we're going to start the fire sign reading now. Otherwise, I'm going to be here, which I don't mind hanging out with you guys for a while and talking about certain questions and channeling on that either. I mean, last week's live was like 4.5 hours, and it was I enjoyed it. I loved doing it. It potentially was maybe more to put myself through than I should have at the time, or maybe not. But I do want to make sure I'm watching after my system as well. So we're going to start the fire sign. So if you have a fire sign, sun, moon, or rising, I'm going to show up. What am I saying? I am going to show up. I'm here, right? But I'm going to delve into the channeled messages from my spirit guides and angels and source that are for you when you see this, whether it's here live or on YouTube. And we're just going to start here. They're showing me a checkered flag right away as the start of this message. And there's frogs in this race. They're racing towards this like checkered finish line. They're hopping along. It's like this frog race. It's very strange. There's like a lot of strange visuals showing up for starters, and we're going to just see what they bring through as the messages. But there's like worms on the other side of this finish line. There's like reward. I don't know why I'm seeing like marshmallows on sticks like being toasted as well. We'll get to that if that's like a separate message or important somehow, or maybe it represents something for you and it's just going to make sense for you, and I'm just going to be here like, what is this? But getting a little bit further into this here, I do get that you are about to cross finish lines, and some of these, it could be a little bit different for each of you. Like some of you could be finish lines of understanding, like maybe some things have been happening or have happened in your life that you're processing, and you're about to get to the places where you're like, oh, I understand. Like, I understand why this happened. I understand why this didn't work out. I understand why this worked out and this didn't. I understand why I have to go this direction, or all different examples I'm hearing, for this. And if you remembered those stories about like a frog turning into a prince when you kiss them or something like that, it's interesting because as frogs cross this finish line, or as you get these understandings, or as you maybe even if you finish certain projects in your life, this could be a bit more of a literal interpretation here, as you make certain changes. And for some of you, it's even just crossing certain vibrational thresholds is what this is talking about as well, like development as a person. Whether you're working on channeling, it could be development as a channeler or something like that as well, as another example popping in. I'm not calling you a frog. I'm sure this is just the example showing up. But it's like you turn from a frog into like a prince or a princess or a monarch of some type. It doesn't matter your gender, honestly. And you are crossing finish lines that are going to have a great transformation on the other side of it, or you're heading towards that great transformation, but you're also heading towards rewards, because this is like exactly what you're supposed to be doing, whatever you're headed towards with this, or whatever's going on with this. whether you think you're just sitting pretty in your house raising your vibration, or you're like actively moving towards business targets and dreams and things like that, it doesn't matter. The finish lines are different for each of you. The rewards will be different, and but you're heading towards a good place with it. So interesting message and visuals for all that, but it tends to, yeah, hopefully that makes sense for you. We're going to move to the next thing they'd like to get to here with the marshmallows on the sticks here. For those of you who feel like you're getting roasted alive in life in some ways, and it could be a little bit more literal. Well, I guess this is still figurative, but it could be like friend groups that like roast you, like the friend groups that make fun of you. I'm not a fan of that, honestly. I don't stay around people who just like, unless it's really, really good-hearted and like loving and supportive, and there's not even a twinge of weirdness energetically behind it and the intentions. Like, I tend not to be around people who pull pranks, maybe planks, but pull pranks or pull, do the roasting thing because they're just being weird and insecure, or power positioning or hierarchy or whatever. I tend to seek out different types of people than that. But maybe that's something you're going through or have gone through. Or maybe it's just like literally just you feel like life is just roasting you alive. You're like, job sucks, this sucks, I am just getting destroyed, it seems. And you are about to get out of that is something I'm getting. It's like this marshmallow is almost done. Or Spirit's about to kind of let off the gas with that a little bit because you kind of got what you needed from that experience, and it's like you're prepared. It's like the perfect marshmallow, and it probably sucks getting, I don't know, I'm not a marshmallow, but it probably sucks getting toasted or feeling like you're over the open flame a little bit. But if that's like preparation for you in some way, like some of the experiences you're having, if it's not like the friend group thing, or that's preparing you to be ready for something in life or to handle certain things in life, and that's exactly what you need to be going through, like you're almost ready for the next steps beyond that, where life's a bit easier, or maybe life's easier because you've gone through this, or you have a better perspective because you've gone through this. It reminds me of like these things like forged in fire, or like, or metal that gets put into the fire to be strengthened, I think. I think that's a thing. So something like that. And it is also leading to a good place. Maybe it sucked a little bit if you resonate with that. But you're like almost ready, or like it's about that being flamed, I guess. That's not the right terminology. That being, whatever I was saying, almost over, gonna be better. Okay, let's move on to the next thing they like to get to. They are actually talking about welding next, though. Speaking of like metal, it's kind of like things in your life are still being welded together by the universe, by spirit, maybe by you as well, if you're participating in like building your life or building something in your life or building next steps in your life. So the pieces might all be there. You might feel like you're still putting it together, or things are still like underway to get you to a certain place in life. Heck, maybe you are feeling like you're in the wormhole with this, with transforming your life, because they're showing me that wormhole visual again. So let me sit with what's going on here. Here's a weird message. The words I'm explicitly hearing are, don't think you have it all together. And I'm not saying this to like insult you or say you're like doing it bad, because they're just saying like you, and I'm going to have to ask them to clarify so it doesn't sound as insulting. But I'm hearing, don't think you have it all together, because you don't. Like there's additional pieces being given to you, or maybe you have all the pieces, but they still need to be put together properly. So don't give up now. Don't like stop now with what you're building in life. Like there's more to go. And like, maybe there are still more blueprints or plans that Spirit's handing to you for like next steps, where like you get, and that could be like you literally get the channel message, or maybe you watch a reading and you get information, or you get the idea like, oh, like I built this business, but I can still do X, Y, Z and expand it this way and help people that way. Or maybe you have a relationship and it's great, and you're like, oh, I can like bring in this idea into this and make it like even better. Or, examples like that are showing up, and take it how it resonates, because maybe it could be different for you as well. But the way I'm hearing to say it is like the pieces aren't all together yet. So don't think it's done. Like there's still work being done. There's still preparation for next steps. There's still more life to live if you're maybe older, or you're thinking your life is done or something like that. Like, you're not done. So next thing they're showing me is this dragonfly. It's about transformation is the word, the visual they're showing me and the word they're showing me with this dragonfly showing up here. They're just saying you guys are evolving really quickly in life. And when we hit these rapid growth spurts or evolution times in life, it can be a bit disconcerting. Because it could be, again, like a thing where we thought we had it all together and then it's like, oh, here's this curveball and I'm growing 10 times faster than usual. And all of a sudden my life doesn't fit anymore and I need new things. I need to change things. And that's like a part of life sometimes. And I'm not trying to scare you from a growth trajectory. I'm very much encouraging you to it if it's right for you, the right amount for you, whatever you can handle that's for your highest good and feels good to you at a right pace for you. But where were we going with this? Can you guys help me out? Angels, help me out. Get me back to the reading, please. Okay, what they're trying to say is like you might be going through a growth spurt right now and like maybe things don't fit as well as they used to, but like that's okay because like the right fitting metaphorical like clothes are coming in. It allows you to make the proper adjustments in life that are like better. The other thing I'm hearing with all this is you can go further than you think you can or have thought you can. And this could be in business. This could be in just relationships. This could be in the quality of your life. This could be finances. So one of the messages they are really trying to bring in strongly with all this as well is like, don't stimmy yourself here and think you're done when there's so much more to go, with how you're evolving, with how your life can change as you evolve. Because I feel like you're about to change everything through your evolution and it's actually going to be great if you're willing to go through the steps and allow spirit to help you change your life to correlate with that. And it's exactly what you're meant to do. So hang in there with that. And don't think you're meant to be stuck in the same place for like 10 years, 12 years, 20 years. Maybe don't even feel like you're meant to be stuck in the same place for 10 months, is something I'm hearing as well. It's like, it's just not true. And you guys are meant to grow and there's just more for you in life than you've experienced at, which is great. Even as far as like passions go or things you're supposed to do, or even like missions in life or purposes. We don't always have like one soul mission or one mission and that's our whole life, all like 80 years as we're living this mission of, I don't know, whatever that would be. It's like sometimes we have multiple that we're carrying out, multiple things we signed up for. Maybe we're supposed to do this thing in one phase of life and this thing the next phase of life, or maybe those things are supposed to combine at certain phases, where things get added in as you can handle them, or as is appropriate. So, take that all as it resonates. You don't have to take all that super literally right now, unless you do, and it's fine. But I don't think there was anything harmful in that. But you get it, so there's more for you. Next thing they'd like to get to here, they're showing me a cheetah. I don't know why I'm hearing the words, you are not a cheater, so I'm just going to relay those to you, and if they make sense to you, perfect. But I'm going to sit with what the cheetah spirit animal or the cheetah is, what it means for you here as well. Some of you might resonate with this where you're like taking rapid sprints in life and then you stop and you're taking rapid sprints and then you stop and then you're taking rapid sprints and then you stop. And maybe you like beat up on yourself when you stop after you've taken a rapid sprint. Like whether that sprint is like transformation in life or changing things or personal development or growing a business or something. It could be a number of different things. And one thing I was kind of picking up on really quickly with all that was like, you don't always have to beat up on yourself after you sprint. Like it might be detrimental to like just sprint and sprint and sprint and sprint and like you just keel over dead, like metaphorically, of course. Like it's okay to like, if you're doing these sprints, like to kind of stop in between it, recover, and then like sprint when you're ready or when it's time. Because like some of you are like feeling called to like sprint 24/7, but it's almost like detrimental in some way. The example that's popping in really quickly, which I guess it's not up to me whatever. I'm just going to say it. It reminds me of a time where I was working full time, like night crew at this job. And I was also starting to do readings, a lot, one-on-one readings, like over the phone, like with TikTok and everything that was building. And it was so much because you'd work like 8 hours night crew, which is exhausting. And I didn't know I sleep well during the day. I'd like get home, I'd do what I needed to do with certain things. I'd do like 4 readings or whatever, and then I'd try to go to bed. And there was other things I was trying to keep up with too. and I was just doing this for like months, and not like too many months, but there was a point where I channeled on it, and my spirit guides were like, okay. I was like, I think I was asking like, okay, do I keep doing this and like doing both? Do I just choose readings at this point? Cause it's kind of replacing my income, but I'm still a little bit iffy on it. Like, is this going to be consistent, and keep going? And like, one of the things they said was like, if you keep doing both, like they both crumble. And like, after I got that message, it was like, all of a sudden I was like, I was having trouble like with, feeling okay and like rested and energized enough. And I would like sleep in through my alarms, and then I'd be like late for work. And then I'd like sleep through like a reading that I had scheduled. It happened like one time. And I was just like, oh my God, like I've never done that before. Like what? And so that was when I was like, I guess I just need to let go of one of these. And I let go of the job, of course. It worked out with the readings and all that. But it's kind of like, you can't always keep sprinting, always. Like sometimes the universe makes us choose, or is like, hey, like don't kill yourself over this. So that's the story I have that I was getting to kind of relay, to talk about that. That's the message. So let's see what else I'd like to say and don't beat yourself up over that if you can't keep up with that. It's just, it's human. You're fine. Beyond all of that though, with Cheetah here, or wherever else they'd like to go next. They want to switch to elephant. So elephant, spirit animal, showing up next here. It's about obstacles. If you are encountering obstacles in your life and they are just not budging, like you're trying to go through, you're trying to go above, you're trying to go around, you're trying to go under, it's just not happening. Try something different is what I'm getting with this elephant spirit animal. Because oftentimes when I get messages about elephant spirit animal, it could be a number of different things, but it links back to Ganesha, Hindu deity of removing obstacles. And so it can be about obstacle removal. And in this instance, if you are, again, butting your head against obstacles, nothing's working, try something different. Like do something different. Try a different area of life. Try another technique. Like, it's not budging for a reason. At the right time, if it's meant to, that will, open up. You'll be able to go that direction. Or you'll go far enough with something else that you can circle back and there's like no obstacle anymore, and you can bring this other thing in or do both or whatever, if that makes sense. So keep that in mind if anything's just not working. They are showing volcanoes. They love to show volcanoes with the fire signs. So, well, I guess any of the signs, but sometimes never mind. Didn't want me to say it. So we're getting into this volcano here. Sometimes in like video games or movies, there's, sorry, I'm getting distracted by this. There's like a beetle on the window and the sun's hitting it in a way where, it just flew away. Guess I had to mention, maybe that's a sign for some of you, but like this, it was casting this huge shadow on the curtains or whatever because the sun was hitting it. I'm just like, what is that thing crawling on the window? Anyways, I also saw a praying mantis the other day, so that's a sign for you. And I was like, oh, cool. But coming back to if you remember like certain like movies or video games, there's like a secret lair in volcanoes. You might have secrets being unveiled to you in life, and maybe they're things you didn't want to see. Maybe they're actually things you're really into. There's different camps kind of showing up with the group here with this secret lair here, but don't try to like close your eyes to it and like pretend you didn't see it, or don't try to be blind to it once it's unveiled. It's like, it's really important that you are seeing the things spirit is showing you, or that the universe is unveiling to you, and like seeing the truth and acknowledging it. Because maybe it's like something where it's like, oh, this would really change things in my life if I acknowledged it. Whether it could be about a number of different things, job, relationship, a direction. It could be like anything, honestly. And it could be people you listen to on podcasts and you're like, oh, I didn't want to know that about them. Now I can't listen to this podcast. It could be anything like that. So it's so tempting to kind of like turn your head when that stuff is unveiled. But what I'm getting is like, really, really don't, and acknowledge it, sit with it, let it be uncomfortable, but let it be known that that's going to lead in better directions than burying your head in the sand or pretending it's not there once you see it. Otherwise, you're just kind of shooting yourself in the foot, if you're just pretending it's not there when spirit very clearly unveiled something to you. The other thing with this here is secret passageways, actually. They're for a different group of you, perhaps, they're showing how sometimes there are like movies or video games where like there's a secret lair and there's a secret path, and it leads you to this like hidden information that helps you succeed, helps the hero succeed over the villain or something like that. It reminds me of The Incredibles, honestly, where he goes to the computer and he's like hacks into it and he learns about the plan, the first Incredibles, the plan to like get rid of heroes or sell technology or whatever. And that probably isn't literally happening for you unless I have some like secret undercover people who like watch these readings or something, which I don't think I do. But in life, you could be like uncovering some like hidden information that leads you to success, or that maybe it leads you to outmaneuver certain people and or things in your world so that you're coming out on top, or it just helps you win in some area of your life. So that's cool. Maybe you're getting some insider information in like an industry you work in, or I'm not recommending insider trading, by the way, but it could be some other way that's like legal and ethical and stuff like that. So, but that's kind of it with all that. I don't feel like there are any more messages so much for the fire signs. Maybe there's like one more. I feel like this comes through like all the time now. So it's just in the air. It's just kind of what's happening. But there are a lot of changes coming in. I feel like it's positive, though. I feel like it's breaths of fresh air. It's like things you need. And if everything stayed the same, maybe we'd all be bored. So maybe it's not a bad thing, as much as we sometimes believe it is. And we're like, change. And, we start to be like, what am I going to lose? What am I going to get? But I don't feel like it's going to be so bad, honestly. Just know that's like happening. That's in the air. People are being hit with waves of change, but they're meant to skyrocket our vibration, take us to better places. It's part of Spirit's plan right now. It's allowing us to see truth, and maybe it's causing us to shed, maybe it's causing us to heal, but it's going to bring us what we need, potentially what we desire as well. And no reason to shy away from it is what I'm getting. They're showing some like dude in the ocean, just like, how like, it's kind of a silly thing, but how like dudes kind of like act like tough sometimes, but they're showing this dude in the ocean with like his shirt like ripped open. He's like just like embracing the wave, like just like, yeah, like the waves like hitting him, like, I can take it. Like, and it's like, I in this instance, I would be like that guy with the waves of change. It'd be like, yeah, just like have fun with it, or embrace it and let it be a part of life, and maybe fun if you can, instead of being someone who's like running away from the waves, and then like the waves curl on top of them and they're like, brah, and they get like spun underwater because they're like not in a stable position to take the wave, I guess. But I think like a shirt with a dude with his like shirt ripped open, like having like waves of water hit him with the phrase like take the waves of change would be great. So if anyone wants to make that shirt, there you go. I don't know. But I hope that helped, resonated, whatever was for your highest good. I'd be staying hydrated, by the way, if you need to hear that. I'd be trying to eat healthy if you need that reminder. I'd be looking into your success as another idea, and like whether that's looking at, if you're studying a lot, like techniques to help you study better, or studying your industry, or listening to people who have information that'll help you succeed. Like all that's going to be great right now. So for some reason, I'm getting a last second message, which was kind of in the collective reading as well, about seeking out information that's going to help you in an area you're interested in, and not just trying to go it alone and struggle against the odds, because it's going to be much easier to get to your destination if you have the information that is metaphorically like a motorboat, that's going to be like a motorboat going against the waves, as opposed to you just like pulling up a piece of like driftwood that's big enough to like sit on and trying to like paddle your way across the water to your destination because you're too prideful to like seek out information or ask for help or something like that. So whoever needs to hear that, there you go. Hope that helps. Wishing you well. Embrace the waves. Don't paddle your driftwood. Take the motorboats. And have fun with life. I'm gonna stop. We're gonna move on to the next reading in a second here. I don't know why sorry. Sometimes I go to close readings and it's like, here's this avalanche of like applicable messages, and lemur is showing up as a spirit animal. So maybe look that up if that seems right. There's also like a meerkat showing up. So pay attention to spirit animals showing up as well. That's going to be good. And oh my God, why? I thought we were done, but squid showing up. I mean, I love it. Appreciate it. So anything else that, if I'm not done, what do I need to know for you guys? What do I need to hear for you guys? Pay attention to squids as a sign. Perhaps that you need to move away from something, because they're showing squid with an ink sac and it's like escaping from things it needs to get away from. So if you go on like a date and you see like 20 squids and like you get a bad vibe, and intuitively you're also getting like, get out of here. Like maybe that's not the right way to say it, but I feel like if you're seeing squids a lot, something needs to change, might be a better way. And there's might be something you need to get away from. It might kind of be up to you to discern what that's about. So maybe don't make any rash decisions about that, but keep your head on a swivel and pay attention. If there's anything going badly in your life that you know is not going to get better, and you're seeing squid all the time as like a sign, like, oh, like getting away from something after this reading, or maybe before this reading as well, but that's going to be something to pay attention to and like trust your gut regarding. You don't have to make any rash decisions right away about it, but sit with it, see what you feel called to do, see if any more clarity comes, and then make your move once you're like certain. Okay, now I think we're done. Hope that helped, resonated, whatever was for you guys good. If you feel called to look up lemur as a spirit animal, don't forget to look that up. Because they're also showing like hopping away from something as a lemur, but I feel like I'm just going to keep talking for a long time with this avalanche of messages if I don't shut it down for a second. So I feel like they're good though. So if anything else comes through, I'll let you know, but I hope that helped, resonated, whatever was for you guys good. For the fire signs, and we're going to go to the earth signs in a second after I hang out. Okay, sorry, one last message for those of you still here and interested. Lemur is talking about hopping away from things you know are bad for you. It could be certain relationships that maybe you've been reluctant to leave behind even though they treat you poorly. It's really time to look into that. Be like, okay, why am I staying when I know this is bad? And you might need to hop away and make certain changes like that. But they're also really saying like, hey, look it up if you feel called to. And maybe look up squid as well, because there might be messages in that for you that are helpful. And maybe you want to Google it and look at the third link from the top is what I'm hearing for those of you who are confused. I don't know, for squid. And maybe second link from the top when you Google lemur, spirit animal meaning for lemur. I don't know, but do what you feel called to do if that doesn't feel right to you. And if because maybe it'll be an ad for soap or something instead. But no, usually that's not usually true. It's usually very clearly like 5 links about different websites that are trying to get ad revenue for spirit animal meanings, I think. And some people are probably in it for the right reasons, so I don't want to cast shade either if someone's really good. And those websites can be very helpful at the same time too if you're seeing spirit animals. So I'm actually, I don't want to cast shade. But okay, wow, hope that helped. We're gonna move on here. Thanks for the specifics. I definitely appreciate it. You're welcome, Lauren. And hopefully that was resonant, helpful, fun for y'all, of course. That or better for the highest good. Hey, Eden. The 17 messages to close the element. They're my favorite last minute additions. There we go. Definitely love how specific. Perfect. The second link talks about being playful, not taking life too seriously. Hey, thanks for checking me out. Checking me out. Thanks for checking that out. Maybe you were, it's fine. But thanks for checking that out, the Journeyman, and relaying that information. I appreciate it. Let your courage and optimism dictate your actions. Ooh, I love that. Was my second link on lemurs. I feel like I've been seeing, nope, never mind. They don't want me to say it. I will listen. Thank you. Google meetings and there were messages. Perfect. Man, you guys were quick on that. you kind of weren't messing around. But glad to see it. So anyone just tuning in, we just did the fuego signs, the fire signs, the fire boys, BOIS, the boys and girls, and everything in between and beyond. And earth signs will be next after we hang out for a second. Allow me to sip my water like it is fine wine. Whew. So my plan was just to hang out with chat for a second before I got to the next reading, but we can start that too. A beep, a beep, boop. Oh, thank you, Sarah. I hope you're well, Tina Trisha. Good to see you. Hope you're doing great. Okay, so we are going to quickly meander on over to the earth signs reading here. So if you have an earth sign, sun, moon, or rising, this is meant to be for you either live or when you see it in YouTube later, if you do. And we're just going to flow with the channel message coming through from source, my spirit guides, the angels, the intuitive messages coming through, all that good stuff. If it's for the highest good for your spirit guides to add in, if it's for the highest good of both our systems and the reading, and set the vibration we need it, that can happen too. So let's dive in. The first message I hear for you is things are getting solid for you. They're showing me like this almost like loose soil you're standing in, but it's like you're getting solid. They're showing me earthbenders from Avatar, The Last Airbender TV show, which is always a crowd pleaser when it shows up. Always a fan, always a favorite. And I definitely love that show too. And I rewatched it during COVID and I liked it then too. It was fun. But anyways, why are we seeing earthbenders here? If you think of earthbenders as able to kind of control the earth or the land, but the way I'm hearing it, it's kind of being spun to like controlling your reality and having more mastery over that. So really pay attention to anywhere you're getting messages, whether it's you directly or outside of you, about, in a healthy way that's for the highest good, controlling your reality, taking ownership over that, creating it to be what you'd like it to be. Any tools you have for that or receive for that soon going to be helpful as well. We're not always meant to be at the whim of reality and what's happening. There can be like co-creation with source. There can be things we can do to create it being more what we'd like, or totally what we'd like, or better, and we don't want to limit that either. But you're being told it's time to take control of your reality. Because it's kind of like if there were an earthbender, like, and they were like, oh no, the path ahead is rocky, or oh no, I'm like stuck in this like pit of earth. And like people are like, what are you doing? Like, you're an earthbender. You can just completely change the situation. Like you could make it so there's no pit. You could make it so you have a smooth, clear path ahead to your destination. Like you can kind of do anything with this, maybe within some level of reason, but maybe there is no limit. Maybe there is no level that you need to keep yourself to. Like it's like if you had that power, people would be like, what are you doing? And it's kind of like saying, if you're learning that skill, or you do learn that skill, and you're still letting reality take you for like a spin, it's kind of like, what are you doing after a second? And I'm not saying like sometime, let me see if they want to clarify it a bit more, because some of you might be mad, like life happens to me still sometimes, and I understand that. What they're kind of saying is like, how can you take a certain amount of ownership or skill like over your reality so that you have some type of control over what, and it's not about control over all things and being, like that either, but over what's showing up. So you're not just at the whim of like what everyone else is saying or what everyone else is trying to sell you as far as like, I don't know, how to succeed, or what you need to do in life, or what success is, or things like, there's a lot of different examples kind of showing up, but you're not really meant to be at the whim of everybody, or reality is kind of what I'm saying. You're kind of beyond that, and you're being taught that. And that's what some of the lessons right now are showing you, is what I'm getting, is like how to take ownership, control over that, to get results you'd like to see, and to not be the victim of your world, I suppose you could say, as well. So kind of an interesting one, but I hope that helps. And we're not done with the reading. We're going to move on to what's next. Jaguar is showing up here. He's been popular. All the big cats. I was about to sing like all the single ladies song, but it was going to be about big cats. But I was not getting the computation. I wasn't really getting how I was going to make the lyrics fit. So we're going to skip that part and move to the message here. And with Jaguar spirit animal showing up, it is, as it so often is about like a leap here. But it's definitely a leap you can handle. You might be afraid of making certain changes, but again, I'm just going to say it. Again, it's like, this is a leap that a jaguar can make with ease, and grace. It's like well within the range, but for some reason, this jaguar is like intimidated for whatever reason. Like maybe it's slipped off the platform when it was raining one time and its environment, and it was embarrassed. And it's like, oh, what if I mess up again in front of Lady Jaguar, or whatever gender jaguar this jaguar is interested in. And it's just like, but he's like fine, like he can handle it. It's like not a big deal. So any leaps you can handle, you can do it. You've done it before. Just do it. Make the changes. Try the things. Like it's fine. Like Spirit's really guiding you to do that. Try not to play small or like think you can't when like you already have, is something I'm hearing as well. Or you're being taught to and being shown like what you can handle, so that you're able to make these leaps with ease and grace in the future, and stop like stymieing your growth or your progress out of fear of something going wrong. When 9 times out of 10 or more, maybe it's going to be like 9.99999 times out of 10, or maybe 10 out of 10, maybe 11 out of 10 times, it's going to be perfectly fine making this leap and not have anything to worry about. So, and even if it does like miss this leap, it's like it's not like a giant leap back up on the platform. So like it'll survive the fall. It's just like get back up and try again until you've mastered it, I guess. But like a lot of you are afraid for nothing is what I'm hearing with this leap, and you need not be. So be the jaguar, take the leap. I'm going to tell you the story because this flashed into my mind, and they're like, tell them the story. So I'm going to tell you the story. I was listening to a podcast. You might have heard this about this dude before. It was on Lee Harris's Impact the World podcast, and he had this guest who was what the heck was, I think the book he wrote was like Confessions of an Economic Hitman or something like that. But he also had these experiences in like indigenous, like shamanic, with, indigenous shamanic tribes, and with certain shamanic like practices because of that. And in one of his books or stories, that I never read the book, but he had this story about it, where it's like in certain like at least in the place he was at with the people he was working with at the time, like the shamanic practitioner in that tribe, and I apologize if I'm not using the right terminology with all that, would lead people through certain like healing visions, whether it involved certain, states of minds through certain plants or not. And he got this vision of like this jaguar on this bridge, and like the shamanic practitioner is like, hey, like touch the jaguar, like you need to go touch the jaguar. And it's like in the vision, like the jaguar is like scary, you're scared of it, potentially you're like intimidated, but if you go and like touch the jaguar is like, okay, follow me. And like he walks to the other side of this bridge, and he like helps you out with whatever you're going through. And I believe the message, I don't know why I'm getting chills as I talk about this, there must be something to all that, but well, otherwise I wouldn't be saying it, right? or being guided to say it. He kind of talks about that in life as well, where it's like maybe there's something we're afraid to, and I hopefully I'm not butchering this, and maybe you'll feel called to look up that episode or watch the book, read the book or something. And there might be things we're afraid to do in life, and like, but like it's like the jaguar that we need to go up and touch, and it's like we're afraid. The jaguar is a predator. jaguar could probably hurt us if we're not careful, whatever. But if you go up and you touch the jaguar and like do the thing or try the thing or do what we're afraid to do in certain instances, it'll lead us to the medicine. It will show us like the secrets we need to know. It will show us what we need to do or know or whatever. And hopefully that makes sense the way that's all coming out of my mouth here. Excuse me. So there might be some area of life where you need to overcome a fear or like face something you haven't faced, but it's like the exact solution to a problem, perhaps, is another kind of thing I'm hearing that could apply to a certain percentage of you listening. Like I was getting like 50% maybe, but so it might not be all of you. But also don't be afraid to touch the jaguar in life and try things is what I'm getting to say with all that. And that's like kind of the meat of the message they're trying to get through me here with all that. So next thing they'd like to get to here, speaking of like economy, they're kind of saying to, what would be best to be said here? Do your own research as well if you feel called to. The message I'm being guided to say right now is sometimes the right move is to kind of ignore the economy and do our own thing anyways. And please do this safely. I'm not a financial advisor, legal disclaimer, but sometimes the best move we can make is what we're guided to do, regardless of these external circumstances that may or may not pertain to us and what we're doing as much as we think based on the stories outside of us. Some of it is fear-mongering, at least. Maybe some of it's meant to keep people small right now in some way is something I'm hearing. And I'm not a big conspiracy theorist at all, so I don't know what that means or why they're saying that, but sometimes you can kind of ignore economic conditions and be fine. There's like one thing that kept popping into mind. I'm iffy on whether I should say it or not. I'll spit it out, but I was listening to one person talking who's more into like consciousness work and stuff like that. And they were kind of talking about like, sometimes we're tempted to like, at least from this person's perspective, keep an eye on things. Like, oh, but what do I need to know about this? Oh, what I need to know about this. Oh, I need to know about this going on in the world. And we kind of get sucked into it. But he's like, like we keep an eye on it to like make sure it doesn't hit us or swallow us or happen to us. But it's like, actually, if we like ignore it and live in our own, within reason and a healthy way, like do our own thing and go with what we're being guided to do what feels right to us, do what, we know is true for us, like that doesn't come into our world so much or at all. And I don't always agree that if we're paying attention to something, we're drawing it to us necessarily. That gets into a very interesting discussion. And I'm going to say something odd and maybe a bit controversial, but sometimes different people have different realities. So that kind of came to mind as like a reminder of like this thing I'm hearing where it's like, is it really helping us to keep an eye on certain things, or are we like accidentally like bringing that in, or are we accidentally rubbing up against frequencies we don't need to as we're going towards what we're supposed to go towards? They're saying you guys get it, so I'm not going to beat a dead horse. We're going to move on to the next message here. There's going to be a lizard, and you know how lizards can kind of dock their tail to escape from predators and things like that? You might be losing certain things that in your life that you think are important, but actually aren't. It's like the tail that docks and then it grows right back. Or it's like, maybe it's helping you to get out of certain situations and you're like, I don't know. I'm getting a weird example. Like maybe you move and you move out of your parents and you have to get out of it because it's a toxic environment is an example. And like you forget your stuffed bear and you're like, oh no, my stuffed bear, but maybe your like sister mails it to you or something and you get it right back. And it was like, I know that doesn't totally pertain to the docked tail scenario, but that's like the thing that showed up as an example for some reason. Or, another example is like maybe you have to leave a job and it's just like, oh, I'm losing this amount of pay, but then maybe you get a raise at your next job right away, or you find something better with more pay and like you get that payback. Payback. That's an interesting play on words. Maybe that made sense for some of you too, but things like that. So, or you have to walk away from a friend or distance yourself or set boundaries, but like someone better shows up, like all that typical, change leads to something better, typically kind of message stuff, which I don't mean to poo-poo it like that, but I feel like, that's such a common message right now that I've been getting that I might as well just, never mind. I'm not going to say what I was about to say because they're like, no, but in a kinder way, of course. Let me see where they'd like to go with this, though, because there's a bit more depth to the message than maybe what I've said or insinuated so far. You might even be losing like personality aspects as you grow, or things that used to entertain you, or just like, oh no, my TV show, like I don't feel as much joy from this thing anymore. But you get something 10 times better out of a new hobby or craft or business you're starting or something, that, and if I'm not saying that perfectly, how could I say it perfectly? Okay, I'm just going to go back to what they said and we're going to move on because they're just re-summarizing it. Like, if you're losing something, like it's not as important as you think it is, and you're going to get that tail growing back metaphorically. So let's and you're going to be escaping something through that, or leaving things behind that you're supposed to leave behind, and getting something far greater through all of that here. So what else before we close this reading out here? Zebra spirit animal showing up for you as well as like the collective reading. I feel like you're becoming more unique, like you're going into a more unique individual. I feel like that's actually going to pay dividends. That's like perhaps what you need to stand out, whether you're trying to get attention through like social media, like positive attention, by the way, or you're trying to stand out at a job or in the dating market, if you will, or whatever, or, like becoming more unique in a way that's aligned and authentic to you is going to be the way to go. Honestly, because sometimes people like they're showing it as this example where like if you certain like plants or animals where it's like if you like poke them, they like and they like withdraw, like they're showing like a seed kind of based plant like creature where like you poke it and it like withdraws within itself, or like a turtle like back into its shell like the second it notices something. And so a lot of people or certain people might be tempted right now where like something comes up and they're just like like a new person shows up in your world, you're like hiding away, or you feel like spirit's poking you to come out of your shell and you're like nope. But I feel like if you're the person who like comes out further or opens up further or unfurls into who you are further instead of being more conservative, like that's gonna help you win in some way, especially like social media, maybe even making friends or whatever it is that you're trying to do here. You being authentically you and unfurling into that is actually like what actually saves you in some ways, or saves the day more so than like being conservative and looking like everybody else and then wondering why people are passing you over, if that is what I'm hearing. So that's your message. I don't know. Hopefully that just makes sense and jumps out at you what area that's talking about. I feel like there's a bit more, some nuance I need to get to with this that I haven't hit on yet. Maybe for some of you that doesn't make sense. So let me stay with it for a second longer here. If you feel like spirit is poking at you to change and you're like, no, and I'm gonna whamp as much as I need to for this reading. I'm gonna whamp 200 more times. I'm just gonna whamp 200 times in a row. I'm just kidding. But like that's like you should probably just unfurl and change and like listen to spirit instead of like no. I don't know, whatever that's about for you, because it's like those pokes to change are like leading you to your destination, the things you want. It's not for nothing. And sometimes we get annoyed when we're like, we just went through this change. Why do I have to change again? Or we already put in like 2 years of work into this. Why do I need to put this many more? And it's like, hey, it's like your choice. The words I heard were like your funeral, but it's because I don't think it's literally your funeral, literally at all. I think it's more like there's a reason you're getting that poke from spirit. There's a reason you're getting that message, and it's not to annoy you. It's not to like be like you're not doing good enough. It's meant to help you, and it's because spirit cares and wants what's best for you, or wants what's for your highest good, or it just is the path maybe you signed up for. So hopefully that is making more sense now that we've done that. And you know what? Another message, they're showing me a shellfish, but they're going a different direction than previous readings where it's like coming out of your shell, where it's like might be time to come out of your shell. Again, I don't know why I'm getting social media so much with this, but on social media for other people. And if they don't like it, not the right people for you. And if they do, perfect. You'll just attract the right people for you. But I just feel like going back in your shell, or shelling is the way they say. If you're shelling, probably not going to help you win as much as coming out of your shell to the best of your ability. And don't beat yourself up if you're like a homebody hermit who says 5 words to anyone else in a week. It's like, okay, like, where is this calling you to come out of your shell? Is it around like just your friend group that you feel comfortable with? Is it like over text with your fiance? I don't know. But it's okay to be you. And that's the encouragement I'm trying to get to you, I guess, or they're trying to get to you. And uniqueness wins is the quote from them that I'll bring back. I should write that one down and put it on Instagram or something, or not. Maybe I shouldn't have said that out loud. But, they're done. So any last second messages before we totally close it out here? Nope, I think I beat that one to a pulp, guys. So we're going to move to the air signs in a second. I'm going to hang out with you guys, as well before we move on here. I hope that helped, resonated, whatever was for you guys good. You're welcome, guys. A beep, boop. Wham. You're welcome, Robin Rice. That was super delicious. Perfect. I love that compliment. How's it get any better than that? Hey, Broken Storm. Good to see ya. Map. Put map on a shirt. Just map. Ooh, I like that. Infuse me with the inspiration and easy, inspired actions that lead to me feeling good, being seen. That's a great intention. That's a great, yeah. If anyone wants to write that one down for themselves, or I don't know, maybe that's something you want to do, Jessica. Start putting those on websites or something. I don't know. Oh, thanks for pinning that. With the reading we'll be on, that's super helpful. Oh, shout out to moderators who are here today. If I saw ya, if I didn't see ya. Marina's here often, sometimes Destiny's here, China Moon Girl's here. There might be others who pop in and out from the past. As I've gone through different iterations of this live and had different groups that might have showed up or different moderators that were a part of it, I salute and thank you for your prior service, and anyone here today, I thank you, and anyone in chat who's just helping out, thank you as well. So I just like to give the shout out because they do it out of the goodness of their hearts. So, or just they do it out of, volunteering, and I so appreciate their help. So you're welcome, Alexandra Jupiter. My arm was in the way of your username there. People come and go so quickly. Sometimes they sometimes can, but I know there are also people here who I think have been here either since I started or like very soon after, since I started doing lives. And I know there's names I recognize like every week that I'm so grateful, appreciative to see, and so appreciate seeing here. And at the same time, I know people will be drawn to this or will be called, people will kind of come in and are out as is needed and as works for them and as is right for the readings, and however this all works, of course. So Sarah sees, if I didn't change my username, you would recognize me. Oh yeah, I think I know, I do, like I recognize you in general though still, I think. I don't remember your old usernames, but I remember you, I think. I've been here for a few years and still enjoy it. Yeah, like Tina Trisha. And that's such an honor. Like, I so appreciate that. That means a lot to me. That just means a lot, is I guess what I'll say, and I really appreciate that. And you guys really do make this a great group too. And maybe that includes me, maybe it doesn't, but I still appreciate you guys who show up. One, because I appreciate you. I appreciate you as people. I know I've gotten to interact with some of you in one-on-one readings when I did that, or in classes, and that's always a joy as well. Like, there are a lot of cool people here. So thanks, Lemon Andy. I appreciate that. That compliment, I suppose. Okay, so we do need to move on here and start the next reading is what I'm getting. I will probably drink a bit of water. So I'm getting I need to start the air signs. If you have an air sign, someone can you read? Air sign, someone arising. This is for you when you see it. I'm going to flow with the channel messages coming through for you. For my spirit guides, the angels and source, if it's for the highest good for yours, to join in and it's the right vibration for the reading for us, if it's the right for both of our systems for the highest good, that can happen so long as it leads to the best results. And let's dive into your reading here. So things are going to be flowing more for you is the first thing I'm getting. They're showing this windstorm, of course, for air signs. Got to get punny. But I feel like things are going to be flowing very fast and maybe you're not ready for it, where it's just like kind of reminds me of like certain movies where it's like a main character is like maybe there's like water behind like a rock wall, or there's like a dam that the characters are trying to make burst. And they're like, they see this trickle of water and they keep digging and like the trickle gets greater and then they keep digging and all of a sudden it turns into this like bam, like this huge burst of water, and like the characters are all like flooded out of the cave, or the dam like floods the town, or I don't know, whatever happens. And maybe you've kind of been like, because they're just showing like this character, it almost is showing up like a cartoon character or something, and he's just kind of sitting there like a simple one you'd see on YouTube. He's just like sitting there, he's like, oh, like this, maybe this like wind starts to blow, it's like, oh, there's some change happening, and it's like, oh my god, and this is like poof, like everything's like blown out of like the scene frame and like across the street, and like everything's being like wrapped up in this windstorm that's happening. So there is this message about sudden change. There is gonna, again, we talked about flow, it's gonna be very fast. I feel like you need this though, like otherwise things might get stagnant, or you might get bored even, and you might think it's a whirlwind. You might be disheveled as a result of this, but it's like perfect for you is what I'd say. So try not to think it's wrong or think you shouldn't be having this happen. If it's happening, or if you notice it now or recently or in the future, it's like the perfect thing to get you to where you need to go. And you know, spirit is really trying to shift things around for you. You might be a bit resistant to some of the changes spirit's trying to bring in, because it's not like what you wanted to see as the change you were asking for, but it's like the next step to make it happen. Like they're showing this example of someone who's like, oh, I want a really cool pad, like a really cool house. And spirit's like, okay. And it's like trying to like slowly move this, like, it's like really funny the way it's playing out. I wish I could describe it better. But spirit's like slowly moving this like table, and it's like screeching across the floor, and like spirit's kind of like watching for your reaction as it does this. And you're like watching this, you're like, no, put that table back, I don't want that table moved, like I want it to change. You'd be like, okay, but you wanted a cool pad, like this is the first step. You're like, but I like that table and I like where it's at. I'm like, okay, but if you want a cool pad, we can't have this table right here because this is where the arcade setup goes, or you know, whatever like that. You're like, no. And then like I don't know, maybe you go to sleep and then like spirit's like really quick, like quick, and like rearranges everything. You come back downstairs like, no, like it's like halfway rearranged, but it's like it's for the better. So I don't know why this whole like story is playing out. Like if you're resisting change like that, it's kind of time to let go, and like God, which is funny because in this example it's literal, let go and like let spirit do its thing, because like your hands on the wheel too much are like resisting the change that spirit's really trying to bring you, that you've been asking for, that you're resisting, because you're attached to things, or you're attached to the past, or maybe you're just being weird for some reason. And no judgment, that's what came through. So for some, like two of you maybe. But just keep that in mind. And this message is meant to help you let go and let things rearrange, let the flow take you to the right place, because it's what you're asking for. If you feel like you're losing things in this process, I feel like they'll be instantly replaced as the message goes, as that message goes at least. And you don't have anything to worry about. Like spirit has your back with all this. Spirit's helping you. It's not like a punishment regarding anything that's changing, leaving, or something like that. Next, they're showing me these cider donuts. And you may or may not be familiar with the concept of apple cider donuts, but there's this, and maybe you are, and it's a common thing, and I've just been living under a rock until a couple of years ago regarding that. But there's this place that there's this place around where I live. They do these like corn mazes every year in the autumn, and they sell like apple cider and apple cider donuts and all this stuff as well, and it's this whole thing. And why are apple cider donuts showing up for your reading, though, here? It's kind of a reminder to take pleasure in life, whether as things change or just in general, to take joy in life. You didn't come here to suffer and keep yourself away from all the things that bring you joy and pleasure in life. You're not here to you're not here to live under a rock and just reminisce about the good old days and like miss out on the present and the future because you're stuck, you know, thinking about the past and how things could have been different and what you lost and like all this stuff. And I'm not blaming you for being in that place if you find yourself there, but what I am saying is there's so much joy to be had right now for you, is the message coming through, and like in the near future, if you're open to it and you'll let go a little bit to how things could have been, how things should have been, how things would have been. Because you can kind of have those things right now if you'll let things evolve into that, and you'll make the right moves now to move into that. And like beating yourself up about the past, if you're doing that, not really helpful. Can you get good things out of that sometimes? Like maybe, and if you find yourself in that place, I'm not telling you to beat yourself up further. I'm just saying like, it's not really getting you the results you are seeking or desiring. It's not really helping you long term. At a certain point, it's just self-torture. And not really doing what you want it to do. It's not teaching you anything after a while, unless you just need the lesson not to do that, from the experience of doing that for a bit, which I don't think you need, honestly. So keep that in mind. Like a lot of joy, a lot of fun, a lot of things in the present for you that are for you if you'll pick your head up from under that rock and like look for it, engage with life, seek it out, make certain moves, hang out with people, whatever it is, try new things. You get it. Hopefully you get it. Next thing they're showing me is this like snow skiing thing. And it's another reminder to make time for play in your world. Sometimes they're showing someone as an example. This doesn't have to be your literal exact thing. It could be who's like business. And they like wake up in the day and they take their like business pills, drink their business coffee. They're up on their laptop like right away, and they're at it for like 12 hours, and then they're like closing their laptop and opening their work tablet, working on something else for like 6 more hours. Then they take their business sleep pills and go to bed, listening to their business podcast, and then they wake up and they're like business, and and it's kind of like you can get things that would help a business if, we're going to use this example, outside of the business. Like if you're playing and having fun, like that could be where the inspiration hits you. We're like, oh, I know what I need to do for marketing. I know what I need to do for this thing. Oh, I need to do this project. Like you can get the inspiration from anywhere. And sometimes your experiences outside of business are going to be what your clients or whatever are like drawn to. If they're like, oh, he loves snow skiing. I love snow skiing. That's cool. This guy has a video about making a podcast. Interesting. And then like, oh, this guy has some good things to, there's like all this different stuff, like having play, having joy, and even just that frequency, if we're going to look at it on a metaphysical level of enjoying your life and having joy, that can attract money your way. And that like is a form of abundance on addition to the other forms of abundance for some people, at least, or maybe the majority of people, is like, are you enjoying your life? Like that can be abundant. Like, are you in good feelings and like vibrations? Like if snow skiing brings you joy and you're making time for this thing, it's like, that's a part of your life and your everyday, and it could lead to more appreciation in life. It could lead to you, I'm at the risk of beating this to a pulp, which I kind of already have. Like you get it probably by now where I'm going with all this. So don't forsake your joy and enjoyment totally for the pursuit of a goal or target. An example I could talk about from my personal world is even with like TikTok and like, I don't know if I want to say my business or the moves I'm making in my business and things like that. And you could look at it and argue like, maybe I haven't got like hundreds of thousands of millions of like followers right now. Maybe I don't have like some of the other things other people in the game might have right now as far as like physical things, going on. And that's okay, honestly. But what I'm trying to get to is there was a period of time where I was so dead set on like this, and maybe like obsessed on it. And like I was still doing something to enjoy my life and all that as well. And this is a big part of things I do enjoy. So like that balance gets interesting for me sometimes. I'm like, well, I do love this. I do enjoy this, but like maybe I need to balance out with some other things as well. But I was like working very hard. Like I was doing readings. And if I wasn't doing readings, I was like trying to work on this thing or this website. And if I wasn't doing that, I was trying to do this thing. And I was so like inundated with that like I don't like that was like a time period where I think I would get not like sick, but I found myself getting sick more than I usually had, maybe because I was just trying to work so much on things. In like the other thing is I like was like running myself into the ground a little bit in some instances, not as bad as some other people, honestly. And I'm sure spirit caught me at the right times. And I don't regret that either. And I might not have even like been getting the results that I could have been through like all that like effort, but I learned things and all that. So it's not like good things didn't happen because of that. But as I relax and let some other things into my life more, things begin to flow more. If sometimes, and like things begin to work more. And I have a space held to invite the right information and things into place that'll help things be better. Maybe I don't know if I'm saying this right, but what I'm going to say is it's more fun when I'm not doing that and I have a healthy balance and I'm having more fun in life. I feel better. It's more sustainable. I'm not running myself into the ground. I'm not running into the issues I was, in a sense at all. So hopefully that resonates as an example, but I'm been on this for like 5 or 10 minutes. I feel like I've been on this for a while. So I'm going to see if there's anything else I need to say about it before we move on here. The point is have fun. And, don't be all work and no play if you need to hear that. Like, don't run yourself into the ground. It's not fun. Don't get resentful about it. Like, all that stuff. Okay, we're going to move on here. Is there anything else I need to say about that before we move on here? Like the last thing you want to do, like something I'm hearing for you as well, like the last thing you want to do if you're resonating with this in some area of your life is you don't want to be resentful because you're putting all this effort in and all this work in and other people seem to have what you want and they don't seem to be working as hard and it's this whole thing and you're like, why me? And it's like not a good place to be. And if you balance it out, you're not going to be like that. So it's not always worth sacrificing everything. There's like other ways to do it. Okay, that's what they want to say. Next thing showing up is alligator. It's about potency. I feel like your potency is expanding energetically. So your manifestations might be showing up more readily. You might be becoming more effective if you're doing healing work, for example, or if you're channeling maybe. And the other thing they're kind of saying is to maybe watch that a little bit. Not everyone's ready for a super potent energy to blast them in the face and like change their world in like 2 days and like turn everything upside down. Not everyone's ready to be like destroyed by like a whirlwind of potent energy. If that's their path and they're meant to, like it's okay. Like they'll survive, they'll live, their life will be better for it down the road. Like or maybe right away even too. But if that is describing you, that's something to be mindful of right now. And a couple things you can do is, let me see what they would like to say for advice here. I think the reason they're saying that is just so you're not going around like, I'm going to blast people in the face. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen that I'm a fire in my laser meme, but it's reminding me of that, where it's just like, bah! And it just like destroys everything. Like it's okay to ask that certain things are received with ease by the client or by the friend. It's okay to ask that it's at an appropriate level for someone if you're just talking to a friend about, so I don't know. Because sometimes it's appropriate to blast people in the face with super potent energy and it's like, okay if it happens. And if that's just you and you have that, for some reason I have a feeling that you're trying for this though, if this is you. And it's okay to find the appropriate level is what I'd say. That could also be with the words you're speaking. If you're not sure it's hitting on like an energetic level for you as like an actual healer or something like that. It could be like words you're saying that are really cutting to people, or like you're speaking truth, but it's really brutal, like almost unnecessarily brutal. They're kind of like, stop that. Like, there's better ways, and like, there's a time to be brutal and like blunt, and there's a time to reel that in and be tactfully honest, where you're not lying to them at all. You're still getting the message across in a way where they understand it, but you're not being unnecessarily like awful to people, if that makes sense. I don't know if awful is the right word, but you kind of get it. So take that as it resonates in the area. You're like, oh, and let's move on here. They're showing me candy next. There a couple things here. They're showing me the candy, but they're also showing me an item from Pokemon, which I loved Pokemon growing up, and it's been fun. But one of the items is a rare candy, which like levels up your Pokemon like automatically, and without them having to battle for experience, which sounds a bit grimmer and darker than maybe it seemed as a kid, but whatever. Maybe it's not that bad. And it is what it is. Let's move on. For you, what this means here is I feel like spirit is like force feeding you these like level ups. Like it's because it's funny because the visual is like they're showing it to you as like spirit's giving you these rare candies that level you up, but it's almost like a cartoon where if like a YouTube spoof where if someone had like a Pokemon, they were feeding like rare candies, and the cartoon trope where like someone's like eaten so much and like force fed, and they're like, "Rrr," and they're like they turn into a blob like full of like all the stuff they've been forced to eat. It's kind of like that, and spirit's like, okay, keep eating. You're like, no more, like, or you're just like reluctantly like eating the rare candies. So you might feel like you're being forced through a lot, or have been forced through a lot. You might feel like you're leveling up quickly and it's like too much in some ways. It's weirdly exactly where you need to be. If it's been too much, I feel like it's gonna level off soon or like stop soon, where it's like leveling up at an even pace that's like sustainable. Sometimes we're just forced through these periods of growth because it's what we need. Maybe it's too much, but it's what we need. We need that experience. One, it might be so we don't do that to other people in some way. Two, maybe we've been asking for a lot of rapid growth, and maybe sometimes that's our lesson, to ask for things to be more sustainable, or that was the only way to get you to where you needed to be. So if you've been forced through a lot of growth and it's been like painful or like too much, or you feel engorged with the level up, you're going to be kind of saved from that. And reminds me, no, that's not the perfect analogy. They're telling me to spit it out anyways. I was going to say something about, those stories about parents who see their kids like drinking beer, or like Tony Robbins has a story of like how he saw his dad drinking beer. Is like, me want to drink beer too, as like a kid. And he said it probably more grammatically correct. I don't know why I said it like that. I have no reason to, but logically at least. And his mom was like, okay, and got him like the 6-pack. She's like, you're going to drink all 6 of these right now. And he drank the first one. He's like, oh, this is kind of gross. Then like he drank the second one. He's like, the third one, he's like, I don't want to do this anymore. This is so gross. His mom, don't drink all of it. And it was really gross. And he like threw up at the end, and he never drank again. Like, is my understanding. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't later on, since I've listened to him. Probably not though, I'm getting. And the way he framed it for himself is like, that was a gift because I never touched alcohol after that. And I'm, still like sober to this day, or I think he's still sober to this day. And so it's kind of like, I don't know if that's the perfect analogy, because I don't think this level up is all bad like that, where it's just a lesson, like never do this again or something like that. In some ways, maybe sort of, but it's, why are we on this? Take this as it resonates, and take that story as it applies for you is what I'd say, and resonates. Like, there's something you're gaining from it, but you probably want it to level off. And I feel like I've just been on this for a second, so let's move on here, guys. So the next thing showing up here is tiger spirit animal. Just really reminding you not to give your power away, not to let other people in your life steer your ship, not to give your power to your mom and go to the college that she tells you to because she's telling you to, not to give your power away to your grandparents because maybe they have a lot of money and they're telling you to do this thing. Really stand your ground with like healthy boundaries. And, maybe your grandparents will like give you that money anyways. If you're stick up for yourself in a healthy way that's, aligned, maybe it's still kind in the right ways, but it's firm, But if you're letting other people steer your ship, you're going to lose, is what I'm hearing regarding like just people's opinions, what people think. people being like snooty, whatever it is that you're encountering with that, friend groups even, that don't have your best interests at heart, things like that. And maybe you need to find a healthy balance, like, oh, this is good advice, I'm going to apply this in the way that works for me. And, but otherwise I'm really getting, I need to go this direction. So I'm not going to listen to people telling me what XYZ that or whatever. So, and another message I'm getting to say sometimes is like, sometimes like it sucks. I'm not trying to make you paranoid about all your friends, like, who is after me? Who's after me, Lucky Charms? But it's more like, not sometimes friends just don't have your best interest at heart all the time. Sometimes there's great people, not karmic or whatever word you want to use, if that's a thing. They're rooting for you, they celebrate you, they don't judge you, real friends, all that stuff. And sometimes there's people that just don't quite have our best interest at heart, and maybe they get petty, maybe they get jealous, maybe they kind of do weird things behind the scenes or talk bad behind your back. And one thing I'm getting to say for you right now, and I sucks as a message, but don't listen to everybody right now, because not everybody is rooting for you. Some people are, some people aren't, maybe, and your job is to trust yourself, trust spirit, trust your own guts, listen to what works, leave the stuff that's not working, maybe set boundaries with people, or if you have to leave them behind, if it feels right to you, you don't have to go berserk after this reading and be like, you suck as a friend, we're done forever. But you can, just pay attention, be discerning, not get taken for a ride. You get it. You get what I'm saying right now. So there's one more message to get to, and we had zebra show up in the last 2 readings, I think, but now a zebrafish is showing up, which I forget what a zebrafish looks like, weirdly enough, but I'm hearing zebrafish. And there was a stingray or a manta ray showing up as well. So let me sit with this for a second. And I think there is a tiger stingray maybe, which tiger showed up. So anyways, let's get back to the reading here with zebrafish here. So they're talking about how different fish are programmed and destined to be different ways, do different things. And you might be looking out and seeing something that works for another fish, like a puffer fish, and you're you might be tempted to, or you are being oh, I'm going to do that. I'm just going to float around, and the second something scary comes up, I'm just going to inflate my and stab people with my poison barbs. Well, the problem is, and unless zebrafish do have this, you don't have an inflation capability with the same poison barbs or whatever as the pufferfish, or you don't become more difficult to swallow like the pufferfish when you puff up with air. So you're kind of just leaving yourself out in the open, with perhaps in a strategy that's just wrong for you, You might be looking out, seeing all these things oh, this is working for them, this is working for them, this is working for them. One, you might be seeing things behind the scenes for that person. You're not seeing that make this thing work or that make this thing right for them. You might not have the full picture. Two, you might not see that that's not the exact key that's making things work for them. That's one piece of their puzzle. It doesn't fit in your puzzle. Three, you might just be destined to be a different way than other people sometimes. You might be destined for different things light you up and bring you joy. Different things lead you to your abundance. Different things work for you, and it's so tempting to look at a one size fits all and force feed it into our lives and cram it into us, and then we're eaten by a shark, metaphorically, not literally, because we're just not listening to ourselves and what's true for us, I suppose, and how we're wired for things, the way spirit, how we're meant to be, really, honestly. And I'm not saying programming is in societal programming. I'm not saying you're all this stuff is in the negative connotations of those words. I mean it more spirit has you meant to be a certain way, certain things that work for you, and not saying that other things can't work for you, but trust your own unique design in life, and stop trying to force feed other people's success stories and cram them into, if it's a business or relationships or whatever, I think it's going to work for you when, I don't know. The other thing, nope, I'm going too far off track with that. You guys get it with what I'm saying here, so keep that in mind right now. I feel like we're done. There is a starfish showing up as well. It's really interesting because this starfish has a rocket sticking out of it, and it's rocketing towards success. You wouldn't think of starfish as something really fast or anything like that here. And one of the messages for you is that patience wins. It came through in like the channeled advice for the week ahead for this week, actually. I have a free newsletter that has that stuff, but that came through as channeled advice for this week ahead for the newsletter people who sign up. It's free. If you're interested, it's on my website. But anyways, that is applying to you as well. Like this message is coming through for you where it's like, yeah, like starfish, you think of like, oh, they move so slow. They just move like an inch a year. They don't move fast, you know? But if the starfish is patient, it can move really far over time. Or maybe it develops a method for fast travel that goes beyond the realm of known anything. I don't know. I'm being silly, but it's not coming out right. So sorry. It should have been a better joke. But if you're patient, like your patience is going to win out because you might stick it through certain challenges that others wouldn't, but within reason, by the way, that leads you to success. Or maybe you stick it out with certain things and that leads you to success. It reminds me, one of the examples showing up is like, I saw a meme recently about like Mr. Beast, who's like one of the most followed people or subscribed people on YouTube. And it showed like his first like 5 years. And it's like, granted, he was like starting when he was 12. So it's like, how many people are going to sit there and subscribe to a 12-year-old? And so you can take it with a certain grain of salt. But, you know, he started it when he was 12. He stuck with it for like 5 or 6 years. And like, then he started to gain traction. And then it just like exponentially was like, boop, like way up as he figured out like, as he honed his craft, as he figured out what people wanted to watch, you know, all the things people say, as he like figured out what worked, you know. And some of you, if not a lot of you, might be going through something similar in a certain area where you're figuring out what works, but you're like about to give up, but you're like, you might just be right on the cusp of a breakthrough or figuring something out that works for you with what you're trying to do in life, whether it's big or small, or it's YouTube, or it's career ladder climbing, or it's dating, or how to be in relationships, whatever it is. And, you know, in a way where it's authentic and you, of course, which is probably something you'd be learning anyways. But all that being said is like patience is going to win the day, and it could even be small. No, where would you guys like to go with it here? Just keep that in mind right now. Like patience is key. Patience will win, things like that. So they're kind of done is what I'd say. They're showing me like the concept of mollusks as well. They're giving me the word mollusk. And again, kind of like squid was a spirit animal in one of the readings to pay attention to, they're saying like just pay attention to mollusks as spirit animals. And mollusk is, to my understanding, everything from like snails and slugs to like octopi and squid. And there's probably a few in between and around that as well. So any of that that's just showing up repeatedly, like look into that maybe. Look, if you feel called to look that up, you can look that up. Or I would even maybe, yeah, just take it as a sign. There's something that's going on with that here. So they're done with that. Hope that helped, resonated, whatever is for you guys. Good. We're going to move to the water signs in just a second. And that's water signs, sun, moon, or rising for anyone who's newer. And like, it's not just sun signs. So just so you know, hope that was great though. And we're going to hang out for a second and then we will do more readings. Okay. You're welcome, Amy. You're welcome, everybody else who's saying thank you. You're welcome, Dana. Ooh. So TikTok has all this stuff going on, and I just show up and channel messages, and I know some of it, but I'm seeing things about people hitting member levels. I know there's like gifts and other things, so if you have been sending gifts, I wanted to say thank you for anything that you sent and I didn't see it. If you've been hitting the likes and getting those likes up, which I don't know, I'm just saying I appreciate it. I know you guys don't have to do that. So I'm also not saying like you have to do that or else right now either. I'm going to talk about one of my pet peeves real quick. And it's those people or those like posts who will be like, oh, smash the like button. Karma is real. I'm like, okay, you're going to try and guilt me into this or insinuate I get bad karma for not doing the thing that's going to like help you out, like get your post engagement. like if anyone's getting, you're going to try and say like, oh, help me out, even if you don't feel drawn to this or this doesn't feel authentic to you. So you get the good karma, like, okay, a little bit not feeling right to me, but I hate that stuff. It is like my absolute pet peeve, especially like some of the posts that are like, save this sound for whatever, karma is real. And it's like, if they insinuate anything negative, first of all, you're the one who's putting this out there to innocent people, scrolling by the post, subjecting them to, give me engagement and what I want or else. And like, if you actually think karma is real, you're not going to be putting this out there because that's all coming back to you, my friends. Like, that's not going to hit these people who are seeing through your BS at all. They're going to be completely vindicated. Like, I don't know. I get so annoyed with people who say things like that and they don't know what they're talking about, or it's just, it's a very clear, obvious just trick to get engagement or something like that. So I don't know. But that's my rants for the day. Most of you probably already feel the same way or agree with that. It was like emotional blackmail. Exactly. And yeah, by the way, Tink Bell, no pressure to gift. Like, don't force that. I wasn't mentioning that to be like, yeah, gift me. It was just, I was trying to thank people if they did. And like, there's no pressure. And there's a reason I do these lives like for free, so manipulative, like that stuff is super manipulative to me. And I just, like there's one time I saw a live and it was like people doing like singing bowls, like a singing bowl session. And they're like, smash the like button, karma's real. And I was just like, like just really gets my goat for some reason. And I probably blocked them, or I probably would now if I saw it. Like I don't do it. We have not done water signs yet, light and love, but we're just hanging out between readings here. Beep, beep, boop, beep. Wondering if there's more besides just ask in meditation to hear guides. Hey, Bruce Priestess, good to see you. Yes. There's a couple different things I'm hearing. One, I'd look into things that will up level your vibration, such as like if you find a good instructor for like Reiki or other energy healing modalities, like those, like getting those attunements. One thing as well, you might have heard me talk about this as well, but just like practicing, like literally practicing channeling. Like literally practicing the actual act of hearing your spirit guides and showing up for that, and like giving yourself a chance for that to develop over time is another thing I'd really recommend for that, where there's different ways, but you can just ask like, okay, like Lee Harris talks about something where it's like, what would my soul like to tell me? And then like you just channel that message down. And like, even if you're newer and you're just starting out and you don't hear anything for starters, like one thing I've heard that I also thought was good information was like, hey, like don't freak out and don't think like, oh, I suck. It's more just like, you're practicing getting in the frequency of receiving messages. And, even if you're not hearing anything right away, like keep trying and like showing up, at least give yourself a chance for a certain amount of time to see what helps with that. Honestly, the other thing is like keep going on the journey. There's like a number of different things I could probably say as well. So let me sit with it and see where they'd like to go as far as specific advice for you, but also specific advice for the people watching who are also interested in this. You might have to go on a unique journey, and maybe you want to ask for that as well, and like go through that to be led to the right tools, people, modalities, things for you that are going to open that up, or open up the right tools and things for you that are intuitive, whether it's claircognizance is the way it's showing up, or it's intuitive visuals, or you're clairsentiently picking up on things for starters. And letting that be the starting place and expand from there, and keep practicing from what is showing up, even if it's different than like just clairaudiently hearing your spirit guides. Because I really do get that can show up for you. It just might need more practice or different things that haven't come in yet that lead you to that. Or maybe it's if it just really does not happen and keeps not happening, it might not be the right time. Like there might be other lessons or things you're being led through to develop that skill. But I'd also look into, are there any like intuitive tools you're drawn to, whether it's, I know people don't always like to hear about the cards, but oracle cards, which help you access your intuition. And then whether you have friends you're swapping readings with to practice working with your intuition, or you're doing energy healing sessions with other people and like practicing doing energy healing sessions where you're in a place where you can get messages for people where it's appropriate and for the highest good. I mean, like getting chances to practice your intuition that way, and showing up and really practicing it consistently in some way, whether it's through a modality or what, is also something I'd recommended. And like, I think like just asking and meditating are great starts, and those can be helpful. And if there's like an action you need to take on top of that, and you keep getting different actions to take or try to keep trying to open that up, like I definitely would. And another thing I'm hearing is like, you might have to open up your energetic sensitivity more. You might not always like that with how much you start to pick up on, but if you're willing to learn the tools to cope with that and work through that, you can kind of do anything, is what I'm hearing with that topic. So be open to things that open up your energetic sensitivity, even if that's not what you want. For someone listening is a piece of advice I'm hearing. So that's kind of, I don't know if that helps. Hopefully I'm not just rehashing some of the things I've already said, and I'm not, hopefully that's helpful as far as some like things you can try and next steps, and like keep going is what I'm getting with like trying different things that are meant to open it up, because eventually you'll find the right tools, practitioners, teachers that will open the right things up for you that you're meant to have. And if it's not channeling, something else can open up for you, claircognizance, something else. I have gotten that, like anyone can channel, like most anyone can open that up, especially if it's like right for them. But don't beat yourself up if it's not showing up right away. They don't want me to talk about it too much more right now, so hopefully that is helpful for starters, though. Hugely helps, really, really. Perfect. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. I'll answer this. Moni asks, how do you deal with being intuitively guided but not being able to explain it logically to others? You're welcome. One is, if it just pertains to you and the moves you make in your life, just make the moves. It'll make sense as things play out, and people are like, oh, it just worked out. Like, oh, how'd you know this was going to happen? Or, things like that. The other thing is, like, for me, well, what would be for that good to say for you here, or anyone else watching, like, with all this? If you're meant to bring in a message for someone else intuitively or channeled wise, you'll probably be guided through, or at least for me, I'm guided through the delivery typically as well. And like, you might see me like doing these readings and getting visuals and like struggling in certain instances to explain like the visuals I'm getting, but the visual and the explanation might not be necessary always for their like message or the message that needs to come through for them, depending. And like sometimes I'll start to explain things and I'm like, nope, stop, just say this. So maybe you can ask to have a bit more guidance with bringing the messages through if it's for other people in a way that they like, that makes sense, or with further practice that's going to open up further, and you'll like be guided through that, through opening that gift up more as you keep going with it and as it expands and develops. Or you're just going to start receiving it in a way, or ask for this, like where it's received in a way where you just relay it and it makes sense for the recipients. Because that can happen too, where it's just like you hear the message and there's like, tell them, and you're like, all right, and they're like, oh my God. So in a good way, oh my God. So hope that is helpful and speaks to what you're asking about in some way. And like the other thing is, like, sometimes we just need to develop more and develop further. And I know that's not like the fun answer where it's like, here's the magical solution to all your life's problems, but sometimes it's real, and that's the real thing. So so Rain also was mentioning something about like receiving messages, and Rain said synchronicity is good to watch out for as well. Yes, I would say yes. 100% too, where it's like maybe you're asking spirit like, why? What do I do? And then like you get like the message from a friend that randomly like really hits and is synchronistic with some other things going on to like let you know this is something to pay attention to. Or you see the signs and synchronicities to answer your question as well. And like if that's where you are, that's where you are. Like start with where you are. And like who's to say if you're somewhere where you're like way newer to channeling, getting messages, and like you're getting signs and synchronicities, but you're like, but I'm not hearing my guides. It's like, well, you are in a way, like you're hearing the universe through the signs and synchronicities. And like you can't always force this to just show up out of nowhere if it's not showing up yet, but you can start here and let that be your starting place, and it can expand to what you're meant to expand into from there, or be guided into hearing your guides from there. For me, I get both. Honestly, I get the messages, I get the intuitive visuals, I get told, you could say I get told what to do, and I mean that in the best ways, not in like a weird, kind of sheepish kind of way. It's just divine guidance, you know. Or I get like I hear a message and see the synchronicity. So whatever works for you as far as, I don't know if this is the right way to say it. I was going to say the language you develop with the universe, but with where you're at, like just start with where you're at, go from there. That's better than like nothing, honestly, like if that's what you're starting with. And who's to say your gifts can't develop from there, even if that's all you're getting for starters. So if you're newer to this, of course. You're welcome, Moni. Marina asks, Brandon, do you offer Usui Reiki masterclasses? I do. I haven't been teaching Reiki as much because I pretty much received and channeled through a message. Sorry, not a message. I received a modality, channeled it through, that's like just way better, honestly. I was teaching Reiki as well because I think Reiki can be a good starting place for people who are getting into energy healing and healing work, or just a good addition to people who are doing that. I can start to open it up again and start teaching that, because I taught up to like Reiki to like a bunch of people like a year or two ago. And then I taught like one Reiki masterclass, and then I kept like trying to schedule a Reiki masterclass for the people I taught up to Reiki to, and it just like kept not happening. And I think I just also wasn't as persistent as I should have been. So I can like try that again and schedule that again for people who haven't just by now moved on to someone else to learn Reiki Master from. And I can sit with them and see if it's the right move to teach Reiki again. But yeah, so I do, I haven't in a second. Yeah, but you guys are welcome for whatever you're thinking for me for that I said. For Authentic Mystic, you said if you've already been up to Reiki Master but haven't used it in 20 years, should you start over? What I'm getting for you is like, no, just start using it again. If you want to like buy a book that calls to you, that just as like some reminders, or if you want something as like a brush up for your knowledge and like just reminders with it, that could be cool. But I don't think you need to go all in classes again unless you really are guided to or called to. Like just start working with the energy again, and you'll be probably guided in the right ways to work with it, especially if you've worked on your intuition and channeling since you've worked with it, is what I'd say. Because if you're working with it intuitively and how you're guided, that's perfect. There's a lot of dogma that's with Reiki and certain people that's just not true. And people might get really mad saying that, with me saying that, but whatever. It's just, okay. Like, if you get in tune and intuitive, you'll be saying the same thing, is what I'd say, for certain things at least. And I know that might be a bit blunt, but I don't care anymore with that. Amy says, it's normal for abilities to wax and wane. I struggle with consistency. Sometimes, depending on where you're at with it, there's an analogy popping in I'll talk about that could be helpful. But as you keep staying consistent with it and like going with it and keep taking the next steps you're guided to as they show up, like it becomes more consistent and more a part of your living in daily reality and maybe vibration as well. The thing I was going to talk about as well that showed up as an analogy is I used to be, again, really into guitar and learning guitar. And with the skills and the specific motions you need to make with learning guitar, when I was like a few months in, 6 months in, a year in, if I didn't practice for like a day or two, like I would have to, what's the best way to say it? It would be hard to get those motions back. Like I'd have to practice for a little bit before it like clicked back into place. And I'd be like, oh, what happened? I was really good at this, like, I don't know, playing these really fast triplets with the music, with the picking the guitar, you know, just like the other day, but then I missed a few days of practice. But after playing for like 5, 8, 10, 12, 15 years, I can just pick up a guitar and do that. No problem. Like it doesn't take as long to get back my skills like really quickly, or even go like beyond them somehow, with like playing really fast and like playing really awesome guitar solos and stuff like that. Like it might, now I might need a little bit more practice because it's been a little bit longer that I've like played that particular style, but I could pick up a guitar and do triplets, no problem. I wouldn't have any issues, or it'd take like 2 seconds to readjust and be like, okay, I got it. So as you do it more consistently for longer and build up that skill and get to higher and higher levels with it, it's gonna stay more at that level where it's easier to maintain, I guess. And maybe that's not the perfect analogy between guitar and etheric stuff and intuition and channeling, because other things you might, what's the best way to say this, you know, maybe you're going through an upgrade for a day and you're down for maintenance and you're like, what happened? Or maybe you're going through some type of timeline shift and like things are about to ramp up again, but you're having a time where it's like, you know, where it's like a little bit like you're not as sure of it, but it always comes back, and I would keep trying and keep working on it and putting in practice the skills you know are going to help develop it. Keep doing that healing sessions or whatever you're doing that you know helps to keep you in that frequency or vibration or place where it's growing, or there. I don't know if I'm saying this perfectly, so take it in a way that's resonating a bit more for you intuitively maybe, but you kind of get it by now, if that makes sense. Like you get to a place eventually where you're oftentimes a lot more good, but I'd still recommend, if you have time to put a bit more effort into it, I would, and trust that you'll hit that level up again, with the skill where it's higher and more consistent, and then you can level up more, and then you can level up more, and it kind of hits in this, maybe it's a threshold, I don't know. But and if that doesn't resonate perfectly, don't force it. Maybe there's a higher, better way for it to work that I didn't quite put into words perfectly, and the last thing I want to do is pigeonhole you with my words. But hopefully that's like a starting place to help you stick with it and grow it and keep it more consistent. Okay, well, I'm going to start the water signs reading now because that's what they're telling me to do. So if you had a question, I didn't answer it, I apologize. I'm being guided to move on though. So we can get back to maybe questions a little bit in a second here, but they would like me to start this reading. So if you have a water sign, sun, moon, or rising, this is going to be for you when you see it. And I'm going to flow with the channel messages coming through from my spirit guides, the angels, and source. And first thing showing up for you guys is tiger spirit animal again. This tiger is kind of like licking its paws. It's hanging out in the jungle. It's kind of like waiting for certain things to happen. It's actually like it's kind of acting a little bit lazy, interestingly enough here. And let me see what's going on with what the message is for you here. I do feel like for a lot of you guys, it is time to sprint. And like take action on things you know you need to do, take action towards your targets, take action towards things you'd like to do. At the time of this live that we're filming this, Mercury retrograde has ended, and I don't know if you put stock into the Mercury retro shade or not, like the period before and after, like we're almost out of that as well. And you might start to be called to take action is what I'm getting. And I definitely would, because there's like things calling you, there's things you need to take action on, and it's time, which is really good. If you felt like things have been moving at a snail's pace, I don't feel like they're going to be much longer. Like things are going to be like taking off. They're showing like plants being uprooted and moving forward, or being moved to like the next location or the next like level for them. So you might even feel like things are uprooting a bit to move forward more quickly, and that's like perfect. It's not like you're losing your grounding or anything weird like that. It's more like a metaphor for you're rooted in one area, things are kind of like this, and it's time to move really rapidly to the next phase. So things are going to pick up for you, which is good. If you at all feel like you are drowning, you're not going to be much longer. They're showing someone in this like cavern, like room and like a cave, and there's water trickling through this hole, and like it's like the scenes in movies where a character's like drowning, like, you know, or something like that, whether that's financially or something else. Like, I feel like the water's about to be let loose, or you're going to be rescued from this, or the situation's just going to change and morph. So you're no longer drowning and you're coming out on top is what I'm getting. If you feel like you're drowning in any way, I feel like that's not going to last. And it's, whether it's emotionally or whatever, it's like not what you're meant to be going through long term. So it could be a temporary lesson in that, or that's going to fade quickly, which is fantastic, honestly. I also am getting a message about you being led out of the darkness. Like there's this cave, and it's like kind of darker. There's like tunnels, there's twists and turns. So there is this card that they're showing me from an oracle card deck that I used to work with, and it's like the Archangel Oracle card deck by Diana Cooper. I don't like everything that's written in the little booklet, if I'm being honest. Like, it doesn't jive with what I get is true or what the angels actually tell me is true, funny enough. But there are some cool cards in that deck and stuff. And one of them is Archangel Hope. And there's this like this dark room, and there's like a little cave like opening, and outside of this dark cave in the background is like this meadow with blue skies and a rainbow and butterflies and birds, and it's, you know, it's supposed to be either like positive light at the end of the tunnel, or like there's hope in the future, or things like that. Like, you kind of, what I'm getting is you're being let out of the darkness to that, to a more hopeful time, to like things can work and flow a bit more, things can come together, because you're not in this cave where it's like, maybe you're the visual they're showing me, interesting enough, is you're trying to call things in to like put things together. Like, it could be a business, could be something in your life you're trying to do. Take it as it resonates, and like you call all these things in, but it's like you're in this cave and it like hits the cave wall and it's trying to get to you, and it's like not getting to you. And like, sure, some of it comes through the cave entrance, but you're kind of getting into this, moving into this era or period where things can get to you more easily, that you're calling in, or that spirit's trying to bring in. Not to limit you being in this cave, like you can't manifest things or attract things, because that's not true. Of course you can. It was just like a metaphor, saying that if things have not been coming together as easily for you, they will be soon, or can start to soon with your consistent effort, of course, and or it's just going to be happening as you're moving forward here. So I like that. Like, you're kind of being moved out of a period of darkness into truth, into clarity, into forward movements, into things coming together. Again, like, if you feel like you're drowning or anything, Spirit has a life raft, you know, sent out for you. Spirit has its spotlights on you with the rescue crew if you feel like something's going on, and you're going to be safe. So that's all cool. Next thing, they're just showing this like black chasm. They're playing this song it's from a band that most of you are probably not familiar with. You've probably never heard of it before, but it's a metal band called Machine Head. And I'm not thinking most of this crowd is into metal, and I used to be, but one of their songs that actually is like a really cool intro, it's like Sail Into the Black or something like that, and it has this really awesome like atmospheric mood kind of setting intro that's very Viking-esque, I would say, but it could be something else that they were going for or trying to do with that I just didn't make the connection, but whatever. And with what they were doing, anyways, they're playing that song. So let me see what's with this here. The message, they're giving me this message where it's like, from the space of the void, anything can be birthed. Weird message, but some of you might be like stepping into a space of like nothingness where you can create anything. And maybe there's something very literal in your life that's going to make sense, or it's going to be very energetic and spiritual and etheric, and you're like, I kind of see what that is, or it's just making perfect sense and I can just keep going with this reading and stop dwelling on it, or circling it, or whatever I'm actually doing. So I feel like you're going to have the capability to like create anything, or create more in your world, and like more of what you'd like to see. So don't limit yourself in like manifestations and what you're asking for. It's like so possible to manifest, create in your world, call in what's for you right now and going forward. And like, you just have a lot of possibility coming in. If you've been doing your work on yourself, etherically, energetically, even if it's just like your emotional world and like your mental world, and you've been digging into that or showing up for yourself there, whether it's meditating or going through courses to work on yourself and improve your life and yourself, whatever it is, that is going to pay dividends. And I feel like that is also leading to this, like this ability to create anything. Like maybe some of the secrets of the universe, or the words I'm hearing, are going to be clicking in for you, which not words I typically use, but it's what I'm hearing. Or certain things like amazing, they're going to be clicking in for you that really help you. So keep going on the path you're going on regarding self-improvement. Paying dividends, really going to help you, even if it's like learning marketing or learning about improving a certain area or something like that. If it calls to, maybe not that literally, but something along that vein, in addition to the other work, could be helpful. Anything you can do to rewire your beliefs right now is going to be powerful. If you're noticing stuck points as you go to move forward, whether it's about abundance or success, or it's love and relationships, what it's possible for you to attract into your world. Like you really are unlimited, and you're being told that with this reading. So don't act like you're limited, even if it's to try to fit in with everybody else who's economy, limitation, excuses. I don't know. I'm being a little bit harsh. Maybe not. But what's the best way to say this? Like there might be people you are tempted to or want to fit in with that aren't right for you to fit in with, because you're supposed to be like way up here, and they're kind of like, maybe they've done some work, maybe they're around here, maybe they're not terrible people or anything like that, but you're like not supposed to fit in because you're supposed to go higher. You're supposed to be something else. You're supposed to go further. And sometimes trying to fit in with everyone else's stories is just a trap, and we don't need to fall into it, and it's a hindrance. And you can see these things and see them and help people through this without living like in that story with them, or like making that your reality, or with that, without shooting yourself in the foot essentially when you're supposed to be way up here. So don't limit yourself down to other people's levels. Don't bring yourself down to make other people happy, or it's just not right. Like they can be inspired by you. They can be in all, if this resonates for you, like and if they don't like it, like that's on them, by the way. If someone doesn't like you, like shooting up high and creating anything or whatever is being successful, whatever it is, like that's on them. Like that's their stories, that's their crap. That's probably the judgments they inherited from their parents or their friend groups, and they're trying to fit in with those groups. And to do that, they're trying to maybe align with like what those people judge so that they can fit in, so that they are not neglected by the tribe or group or whatever. So you don't have to be that, and you can form your own tribe or whatever. So don't do it. Don't step yourself down for people, or limit yourself for people. It's not good. If you're learning something right now about how to be successful, that's great. I'd be putting new knowledge in your ears or in your eyes that can lead you to success, and be like studying an area you'd like to be successful in. That's huge right now. Even if you're just like watching this thing and you're like, oh, guides, if your channel, like, is this true? And they can be like, nope, or be like, you should try this, or you get inspiration for what you're doing. I'd be doing that. It's going to be very, very lucrative, going to pay dividends. You should be doing that, is what I'm hearing. I know people don't like the word should, so, oh well, it's what I heard. So Tiger Spirit Animal showing up again for this reading. I feel like you are owning your power, or will soon, so keep doing that. Again, I don't know why I'm hitting this so hard, but you're not supposed to step yourself down for other people. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's your wife, your kids, your mom, a dying friend. I don't care. It's just like you're going to help them more by owning your power than by pretending to be in the same places or limiting yourself or stepping yourself down for people. It's just like, how are you supposed to help them if you're in the thick of it with them, instead of being up here, like either helping them lift out of it or seeing through the crap and giving them messages that are going to help them, whatever you do. You're going to help more people being you and being where you're meant to be than by pretending to be anything else. And like tigers don't pretend to be anything else than what they are. Is what I'm trying to get out of my mouth. Like tigers are okay just being the tiger, whether they fit in with the monkeys and the gazelles or not, if that makes sense. I remember getting a reading and this reader said something to me where it's like, yeah, like you might be the tiger in the jungle, but just because like other animals are afraid of the tiger, they don't want to be around it, doesn't mean that tiger doesn't belong there. It's just like, it's like it's just the tiger. Like, and that could be you. Like you might resonate with that message right now where it's just like, yeah, the monkeys don't want to hang out with the tiger and get eaten. Like whatever tigers eat, they don't want to just hang around and get devoured. Like they're not going to just shoot the shit with the tiger. They're gonna run. They're gonna be afraid. Maybe they're gonna gossip. They're gonna be like, oh, you see what the tiger did? And that's okay. Like you just be the tiger and do your thing, and perfect. That's what you're meant to do, and that's gonna be a lot better for everybody than you trying to be the sheep or whatever and fit in. And then like everyone's like can tell you're a tiger anyways. They're like, what the heck is this guy doing? Like he doesn't belong here. I don't know, like this at least. So. Okay, let's move on before I go into that a million times more. Cool messages. They're showing like RPMs in a car, like ramping up in like a healthy way for the car. Like the car is going faster, or it's like this limit of RPMs is being removed. I saw a video recently, and that's very specific. And I guess if you have, because I don't know why this showed up, but I ended up watching it. It was like a short video where I guess for like Chevy Corvettes, when you first get the car for the first certain amount of time or hours or miles or whatever driving it, the engine is kind of it's not like locked, but like you don't have the full capacity of the engine until you kind of break it in a little bit. So you're kind of limited to like 4 cylinders instead of 8, I think, or however many cylinders that car has. And once you hit a certain part, like the RPM bar like goes higher. It's like it becomes accessible, and it'll be like instead of V4, it'll be like V8, and then like you'll have like so much more capacity to this car that you bought to probably access to that capacity, and it's maybe not the exact same message, but similar to you, where it's like maybe spirit is giving you, like ramping you up energetically, giving you more RPMs to like accomplish more, to be able to help people more, to have more energy to do things. And maybe that's showing up very naturally, like you're called to exercise and that ramps up your energy levels and you can do more, succeed more, blah, 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 all this stuff. And, but spirit's like ramping up your RPMs to like to help people, to succeed, to do what you're here to do. And it's like, okay, you're broken in a bit more now with like what you're doing. Time to like put the pedal to the metal, time to see what you can do, time to really put yourself out there and like try things and like give it the full effort. So if you felt like you've been holding back, it's time to stop. And maybe you've been holding back for a reason, but no more is what I'm hearing. It's really time to put the pedal to the metal in some ways. And that doesn't, by the way, that doesn't mean that this person's going to be driving this Chevy Corvette, literally pedal to the metal constantly all the time. And that's the only way he drives it. And then like he runs out of gas and pushes it to a gas station, fills it up with gas, and then just pedal to the metal and just ripping out and like flying down like 250 miles per hour until the car breaks. It's like there's still some balance. It's just the performance is unlocked and you can do more. You have more accessible to you, more energy, whatever it is. So there's still balance to this message. There's still taking care of yourself and giving yourself, if you need a day off, like give yourself your day off for the week or 2 days off, whatever works for you, that spirit's letting you to or whatever. But I really like that message. It sounds very positive and very cool as well. Okay, they're kind of indicating that's close to the end of the reading. And I say close because they might be saying we're close at the end, and then like the barrage shows up, of message, the avalanche of channeled messages, but it might not be the case this time. Grasshopper showing up for you again, very popular spirit animal, and thing for messages that's been showing up for me at least. And, this grasshopper is like growing additional legs. It becomes like a super grasshopper. It can do what no one else can. It can do things that other people can't. And that sounds like in some way that is you. And that could be a very specific way where like, whether it's like something with spirituality or it's something with like, you just are someone who can really be a rock star at work and just like really just do amazing and no one can keep up, or it's helping people in some way, or it's your intelligence, whatever it is, or it's your knowledge in a certain like area that really allows you to succeed. but it's like, it's being shown to me as analogously, or what is that word? As an analogy, like super powered almost. And let me see where they'd like to go with this here. They're showing that as you, and they're bringing in the message again, like try not to limit yourself to other people because of that. Like, because of that reason, don't limit yourself to other people. Like, don't limit what you can do based on what other people are saying. Don't listen to people who aren't on your level regarding a topic you're like an expert at. Sure, if someone's like up here with you, you can exchange information, help each other out maybe. But someone's down here and they're here and they're trying to like help you up here. They might not be able to, or they might be able to kind of, but not really. And you really either just need to like trust yourself with it, or get someone that's on your level, or if it's possible to find someone greater than whatever is going to help you to help yourself. And where are we going with this? Okay, again, just know that something like that is happening for you with the superpowered thing. Don't dim yourself down because of it. You're meant to be like that. If Superman, to use a superhero analogy, like decided to just dim himself down because he didn't want people to feel weak, and he didn't want, to be singled out in some way, and or something, and he wasn't allowing himself to shine to his full capacity, like in that world at least, the earth would have been destroyed 10 times over. Like, who would have saved the day if he was just like, oh, I don't know, I don't want to make my brother jealous because I've got superpowers. I know the meteor's headed to Earth, but what will my mom think if I save the world? And then she's going to think I'm doing it for attention. And I don't know. Like, it's just a little bit silly. Or maybe it is time to have self-awareness and realize you're actually good at things, and you're thinking you're not, but you actually are. It could be about like art, for example, is an example. And you're like, oh, I don't know, like this person has art and they're doing okay, but then you're like, I don't know, it's like maybe someone holds up an art and like, oh, that's a really cool like thing, and then like they look at yours and it's like, oh my god, that's the most picture perfect detailed painting of a horse I've ever seen. And you're like, I don't know if it's that much better, like I don't know if it's that good. And it's like, okay, it's time for self-awareness. Like, if you're good, you're good. Like, go with the feedback people are telling you. Like, stop presenting yourself at the same level as someone who's been doing art for like 2 months when you've been doing it for 10 years and you're a pro. Or I don't know if I'm saying this right, but really, I feel like I'm going in a few different directions with this, but stop bringing yourself down to other people's level is kind of one thing I want to say. Stop dimming yourself down for others. I don't know why I'm hitting it so hard right now as a message, why I'm getting that over and over again, but stop seeing yourself as weak or lesser than you actually are if you can, and do what you're actually called to do. Okay, I think we're done. There is a jellyfish showing up as well. You are being led away from the wrong paths. Like, they're showing it as someone like scuba diving underwater, and he thinks there's multiple paths to an area, or he thinks there's multiple ways he can go. But there's actually like one true path that's right in this scenario that this is representing. In like all the areas that aren't right, there's like jellyfish filling up, although the clear water that was there in front of him. And it's like they could sting him. Maybe they're really deadly, like man-o-war jellyfish. And Spirit's leading him to like the safe path, or the true path that's best for him, to get around these jellyfish and get to the gold, get to the targets, get to the dreams or whatever it is. And Spirit's trying to get you to success. Could represent a number of different things. Could be a relationship you're trying to get into or something. Maybe you have multiple options. There's a lot of different things this could represent. So the paths that are not right, it's becoming clear those are not the right path is what I'm getting, or it will become clear and you'll know which way to go because it'll be very obvious. It's the one that doesn't have deadly jellyfish in your freaking way. So in the metaphor, in the visual. So you'll know what that means. If it doesn't make sense now, which it does for a good amount of you, I'm getting, you will. So something's going to present itself as the right path for you in an important area that you've been working towards, where it might seem like options are closing up, but that's just because there's a better option. So hope that helped, resonated. Whatever is for your highest good, you're being led in the right directions. You're more powerful than you realize. Spirit has opportunity coming in for you as well. Water signs, sun, moon, and rising. And that's the gist. And if you feel like you're in a moon period at all, like tarot card moon period, like that's leaving, illusion is leaving, confusion's leaving. It's time for clarity and good omens and things heading in the right direction. So it's just time. So I think I'm good. And we'll probably do a full channel mode message. We might hang out for a bit between now and that, but awesome. Thank you. You guys are welcome. You're welcome, Olivia. You're welcome, everyone who said thank you. You're welcome, Carly. Thanks for letting me know, because Angel Gates said beautiful message, so thank you. I'm glad to hear it. Perfect. You're welcome, Prince Priestess. You're welcome, guys. Perfect. You're welcome, Dana. Glad to hear it. And thank you guys for letting me know. Ooh, I'm feeling it right now. You are on point in every area. Exactly what I like to hear. So glad. Always part of the aim that these are accurate. So thanks for letting me know. I'm so glad to hear it. You did, Jocelyn. I will be reposting these on this live on YouTube as long as there aren't any technical issues. Usually in the next few days. So hopefully Monday, Tuesday, this will be up and available for you if you missed any of the readings, if you feel called to it. So, and you can get to my YouTube there's a link to it through my link tree. There's a link to it through my TikTok bio as well. So there should be a little link to it in my website. If you go to website, there's little social icons up there. You click on those. So whatever works for you. Oh, perfect. A peer called me Wonder Woman last Friday. That's awesome, Melissa. I love that synchronicity. Okay, so we're actually going to jump into the full channel messaging. Probably going to drink a little bit more water before I do so. And surprise, surprise, it is about change. And then they started singing that song like, I forget the words. It was like, da, da, the change. The one that, oh, wow. If I could sing in key, but it's like the one with like, changes. It's like the, I don't know. There's something about change with all that and all that. So you probably, it's a song that's in Shrek somewhere, I think. So if you think of the Shrek soundtrack, it might come to mind. Keep singing. Thanks, Golden Girl. Oh, turn and face the change. Thank you. I always heard that incorrectly as a kid. I always thought it was like time to face the change or something, but turn and face the change works better. Live, laugh, love, Shrek. Ooh, that's a good poster for the wall. Just watch Shrek 2. Heck yeah. Like that's right. The Shrek. I almost said like synchronicity and Shrek combined, like Shrek synchronicity, Shrekinicity. I don't know. Synchro Shrekity. Okay, they want to start the full channel message, so I'm going to stop saying weird Shrek words and I'm going to do what I came here to do. So they're saying you guys don't need the explanation. They're just going to jump in and start. And if anyone's new and they're like, what is happening? I'm going to be full channel moding. I'm going to channel my guides full channel mode. They're going to be speaking through me. A lot of benefits, like increased intuition. There's like a energetic transmission that brings healing along with it. There's the verbal messages. So anything else before you? And if you need to know the name of my guides, Angelic Collective of Zorbital is the name they gave themselves. And it all, of course, stems back from Source, and Source is included in the collective channeled, however it actually works. And maybe they'll explain it because I think I didn't explain it well. So we're starting. Welcome to today's changes. And you are collectively in this period where waves of change continually rock the collective. We are on this message over and over again because it keeps showing up. It is in this collective, in different groups of you, in different ways, all of the time. So we will keep harping on this until you get it through your skulls even, that change is part of the norm right now, whether it's rapid shifts, whether it's change upcoming, whether it hits one area and then another. You're all in the waves of change and you are part of the waves of change, for you are not separate from the collective. This does not mean you are at the whim of the collective. This does not mean you take on the collective's junk or burdens. You are never truly doing that unless you choose to or set that intention, which is not recommended by us or infinite intelligence, by source, by anyone with a brain, we would say, unless they have chosen suffering as the way they would like to move through their world. And none of you would like that. At the core, at who you're meant to be, you are meant to be free of that frequency of suffering, floating above that into higher frequencies of joy, allowance, peace. And you may find that you dip down into those lower frequencies for release, to shed something collectively, to shed something ancestrally, but you will be back up to the surface. So see your moments of suffering as temporary, see them as something that can go, and see yourself as someone who can float above and beyond the collective burdens that are rocking many because they don't know what to do with it, how to move through it, how to meditate and release, how to energetically discern what they need to do for self-care, etc. Right now, and you could argue that many times this is a key to life, self-awareness is a key to mastery. It is a key to your success. It is a key to you living the life of your dreams and discerning what those dreams are that are yours in the first place. If you have that self-awareness, you will be aware of how the change is affecting you, what you need, where you should be heading towards, what you need to live a fulfilling life and fulfill a fulfilling life for yourself and your soul. And you won't be so caught up in the collective stories of what's going on in the economy, what's going on in politics, what's going on in your nation. How are you meant to be? What does it mean to be a contributing member of society in the way your dad would like it? Self-awareness helps you shed these things. Of course, you can gain self-awareness through meditation. We would also point to intuition, channeling, even mediumship or psychic abilities, and ramping up your awareness in those realms as a way to master self-awareness in the physical and with your emotions, your mental realms, and your body as well. For that is your cheat code to fast self-awareness, is channeling the message, discerning intuitively, feeling it energetically, and just knowing. However you operate, work on your intuition to super boost your self-awareness, to boost you and boot you in the correct directions for you. Couple this with any self-work into unveiling your soul, being more led by your soul in your life, more led by spirit in your life, becoming who you're meant to be, which is not a low vibrational person who operates from ego, who intentionally harms others for the heck of it, who is only out for their ego. You are not meant to be that way. Self-awareness would help you see this, would help you know this, would help you move away from it, and would help you realize who you are meant to be. If you would like a cheat code in becoming who you're meant to be, if you're listening to this, like, how do I do this? Again, unveil your intuition, work towards that. That is your cheat code for that, for you will be guided to that as you ask for that, as you unveil your intuition and get the messages on how to move towards that, and as you feel intuitively and energetically who that is you are meant to be. And of course, you can ask and manifest it and see what shows up and see the synchronicities and messages you get from the universe through those around you, through signs and synchronicities, or directly, where you unveil yourself and who you're meant to be by manifesting it, and then you stepping into a certain path, becoming a certain way, and a year later, a friend comes up to you and says, wow, you really seem like you're on the track to who you're meant to be. Or, wow, you really seem like you've uncovered who you're meant to be. Or maybe you book a reading and a psychic says you are on the road to being who you're meant to be. You're like, oh, I just manifested that last year or last week or last month. It must be showing up. And you get these things unveiled to you as you ask for them and see them manifest. That's your other way to start to unveil this stuff. And notice how this in some ways goes beyond physical actions or a doing in your world. Doing can be a part of being. Doing can be an important part of life. But there's no 12-step program that we are giving you. Go to this mountain, spin around 3 times, do a backflip off of Mount Shasta, swear at your mom, yell at a pigeon, and then you will know who you're meant to be. Of course, we are joking. That is a ridiculous example of physical actions you could take to unveil who you are, who you're meant to be. But we're not giving you a literal physical list, starting specific companies or going to specific gurus. We are telling you to come back to you and the universe. And that's where it's at. We are telling you to take the right actions and kickstart it, and then let it show up. Let it unveil itself. Let it become what it's meant to be. If you let go of the mental realms just the right amount, if you let go of the how in some ways, some of you might be feeling a bit driven crazy because you've heard this 3 times today. If you let go of the how in certain ways and let it show up, let Spirit show you the how or the way. The physical list takes care of itself. Aside from kickstarting things by manifesting it, or practicing your intuition, or taking a class that helps you with any of that you're drawn to, that you know is right for you, where you can trust the instructor, no matter who that is, as long as it's right for you. We don't care as long as you get the right things for you. We don't care as long as you're getting what's right for you. But the how will take care of itself. If you will let go, ask, and move in the right direction as you're guided, as the universe gives you the stepping stones, secret passages can unveil themselves to your destination. Ways you never imagined might show up. For some of you, this is 101. This is Manifestation 101. You're wondering why we're on this topic when you're 12 levels above this and you're master of reality. Well, maybe a return to basics is going to help you help someone else if someone else needs this message that you are helping, such as a client or someone you're doing a reading for. These messages are meant for more than just you sometimes. There can be a third wave, a second wave, a domino effect as you share some of what you've learned, or the energy from the shifts and from the transmission that you've gained as that cascades through your reality to people you're connected to, or as you bring that around you in your daily life, that begins to change things as well. There's a domino effect with these messages, and sometimes if they seem simple, 1, that could be the solution and the answer. That could just be it. 2, someone else might need to hear it, and you're going to relay it to them. 3, think of the frequency you're getting. Once again, it might not be the words you're here to hear. They are part of it. They are helpful for many, but there's something else you're getting beyond the words that draws you to stay here when we get into redundant information, base level ideas, things that seem a bit more 101 to you. But it's not 101 to everyone. For some people, the 101 is the next step. So keep getting advanced, keep hitting the next levels, but don't forget the basics for the people who are ready for that. And let's move on. This collective is evolving very quickly. This collective is ready for change. This collective is the change. Sometimes you forget that you may have been the one that kickstarted the change in your world from the get-go. By asking for something or asking for the change to occur, by asking for something to show up for you and the change is what's allowing that to happen, by realizing you need to change your world. And again, as you are changing the collective. As you are opening the door for the highest good to light, you are opening the door for the highest good to light for the collective, for the people around you you are connected to, for the people connected to them, for the people who are ready for the light. That is why we are encouraging you now to go higher, because higher levels are available. Even if you feel you've hit a plateau for even a year or a month or some time, the higher levels are opening up further, which will cause further change, by the way.
If you'll think of those videos you may have seen where someone plays a sound frequency that is ever rising onto a metal platform with sand particles on it, and each time a certain energetic, well, in this instance, sound frequency threshold is hit, the pattern of sand rearranges very quickly. That is happening over and over and over again. It is happening internally, it is happening externally. And this collective is at the cusp, many of you, about 75%, of a shift like this, where the next energetic bandwidth of frequency is hit and things rearrange a bit. This won't be drastic. This won't be life-destroying. It's just you're ready to go higher. You're ready to embody that. And you're ready to own that for the collective as an example and go out into the world and be that energetic example for the people who are ready to imbibe that and become that themselves, or begin to embody the next level for them, whether that is steps below you or right there with you at your level. You going higher helps everyone. And this is all taken care of. Spirit does have next steps lined up for going higher in frequency. Next steps for your life, you're all taken care of. You're all looked after. Even if certain things seem like they're going into hell in a handbasket, you'll be led out of that crucible. You'll be led out of that building period, that fire that builds you soon, or at the right time, and you'll be ready for your mission. Missions are coming online much more than before. Missions are going to be a focal point. Soul missions, even if it's just the mission of your business and you're getting refined on that. Spirit is very mission focused right now and is selecting the people who are ready for their missions. And you don't have to take this super literally, as this is the way things work. We are trying to explain things in human language. So give us a little bit of space to try and describe this. But Spirit is going to be selecting you who are ready for your missions and putting you on that path rapidly. Next year, for whenever you're seeing this, it is a time for missions. It's part of this wave of change, this iteration. Could be why certain things have been so challenging for some of you. You're being prepared for the mission. Not that the mission will suck or be as challenging, but maybe you need to work some things out of your system to be ready. Some of you, that is true. Maybe you just need to be stronger, firmer with your boundaries, to fully carry out what you're here to do here, to speak truth, to deal with people not liking what you're saying, or what have you. It's time for the mission. So don't force that. Let that frequency percolate. Let it show up. You don't need to run off and start a cult because you think that's the next phase of the mission. But also, don't start a cult. Not really what the collective needs. The collective needs people who are genuinely helping, genuinely on their soul mission, and allowing Spirit to hand that to them, guide them to it, lead them to it and through it, to have the impact they're meant to have. And that is a lot of you in this group who are going to step into that. Small ways, big ways, medium ways, all the ways, whatever you're ready for. Those of you who know you have a big mission, get ready. That's going to be hitting very hard, not in a bad way, but it's going to be hitting very hard soon. We would like to wrap this up now. We have been channeling long enough. The frequency has risen. You've gotten a taste of the future, the change to come, and your mission, should you choose to accept it and move into it, which you will, because that is what you came here for. We are signing out for now. The Angelic Collective of Zorbital, Source, and we are wishing you well and good luck and support from the etheric for the highest good on your mission. Farewell for now, and take care. You're welcome, guys. Ooh, yeah. Thanks, Golden Girl. You're welcome, Broken Torrent. Is that what I've seen? Broken Storm. That's right. Thank you very much. I'm glad to hear it. Perfect. I'm glad it was powerful. Glad you could feel it deeply. Exactly what you needed to hear today of all days. Perfect. So glad to hear it. You're welcome, guys. So glad to hear it. Yeah, I feel like they've been really amping up the potency with the full channel mode channels. At least some of them. There was one, they're telling me to tell you this, which is why I'm saying this. There was one I did for the Let's Go Higher membership. And like at the end of it, I was literally just like, ugh. Like I was like heavy breathing. I was just like, oh my God, like just whatever came through or whatever they did was, seemed like it wasn't the normal potency level. It seemed a bit of a step up or a big step up. But it wasn't Child's Play, so something's happening. But Andy Pandy Pie, I think it was the most recent one, Andy Pandy Pie. It was the Sudden Shifts and Changes was the one, which that was the one that I was really feeling afterwards. Yeah, the rapid shifts and changes or sudden shifts and changes, bro. Yeah. That one kicked my ass in the best way. Oh, well, I like that feedback. I'm glad to hear it. Yeah. It was interesting because I was not iffy, but I was a little bit hesitant on like the verbal part of that one personally. And maybe I had no reason to be. And if I re-listened to it, I'd be like, never mind, it was fine. But like the potency of it and like the shifts of it and like the way I felt after it was like, okay. And they told me to put it up there anyway, so I put it up there. So awesome. Well, I'm glad to hear that they were the best changes, and may that continue in the best ways. As I was listening and affirmed it fully, I felt my guides like, you sure, bro? That's good. It was a lot reaching the, yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's intense. That's intense, Andy Patty Pie. Heck yeah, Jessica Johnston. I agree. Oh, I hear that for sure. Ooh. So we're probably going to wrap up the live soon here. If you've been with me for some time, you are familiar with probably a lot of what I'm offering. But if you liked the channeling, the readings, and got some good stuff, or a lot, hopefully all the good stuff out of it, a lot of good stuff out of it, I do have a free newsletter you can sign up for with channel messages in the month ahead. I've been doing channeled advice on the week ahead more recently as well. I actually still need to put that together for next week. Usually I'm a bit more ahead of the game, but that's okay. I'm feeling pretty good right now, so I can do that. And that's there for you. I also have different MP3s for sale, like full channel mode messages, channel guided meditations and things like that. If any of that draws to you, I have a channel guided exercise to help you create like the best day possible for you, or just help improve the quality of your days. If you listen to it, probably at the beginning of the day, but probably whenever you feel called to. And then I also have a monthly membership you can sign up for if that calls to you, where we do have like the longer full channel mode message, like 45 minutes to an hour plus. And just monthly, depending on the level, you get channel guided meditations and other content that's, deep dive readings in the month ahead that are deeper maybe then the newsletter as well, just different things that are available if you're drawn to it. And lastly, I do have a few energy work classes coming up here in the next couple months. We've got, if you've taken 4 Angelic Fires with me and you haven't taken the next class, I have one coming up this next Saturday, at the end of the month here. And I'd love to see you there if you can make it, if you feel drawn to it. If not, do what is best. Do what feels right to you, of course. But that's going to be happening. And then we also have the first class of that same modality, which is the Source Fires, which is one I received with great feedback, next October 14th right now, I believe it's scheduled for Saturday up in like 3 weeks. That's going to be happening if you're drawn to that. And if that modality feels like something that you're like, oh, kind of perking up while you're listening to, or you're feeling like drawn to it, you can, of course, reach out with questions. There's payment plans available if you need it. And that's available too. But that's it for right now as far as what I'm being told to talk about. And I might have jumped ahead of myself a little bit with some of the things, but that's what's going on right now. And I hope if you feel drawn to any of those things, they are, of course, of the utmost help that would be for the highest good in a balanced way for you. And amazing classes, potent. Oh, thanks, Divine Healing. Oh, Divine. Okay, I know who you are. But thank you for letting people know. And thank you, Andy Pandy Pie, for the... And yeah, the energy work classes are Zoom classes, so it's not in person. It's via Zoom. So as long as the time works for you with where you're at in the world, that's available. Oh, that'd be awesome, the Authentic Mystic. It'd be awesome to see you there and see what you get from it, of course. But I'm, of course, doing my best to hold the highest and best intentions for it. I'm not really worried about it, but I'd love to see you there if you're called to it, if it works out. And if not, maybe in the future, but no pressure. So I was gonna end the live. We might do just a bit of guitar to kind of wrap it up here. Just as a musical, peaceful way to close it out. And it'll be Reiki infused as well as typically how I do it for these lives. So I'll be setting intentions to bring Reiki through. It's meant to be a healing, energy healing, sound healing kind of experience kind of deal. So we'll do that for maybe not for like a long, long time, but for a bit, and then we'll probably close it out. So thank you, Divine Healing, for letting people know about the modality here. And I'm looking forward to even more people joining as well, so that we can maybe just set up more like practice sessions for events with more people and things like that too, which will be really cool. So, okay, we'll just start the guitar, I guess. Is there anything else I needed to say? Okay, so this is meant to be just to help you relax. I think my guitar is still in tune. Let me check. Good enough. That's pretty good. Yeah, okay. So we're going to start in just a second. I'm going to set intentions and get the energy healing going. And my, of course, intentions is it's infused with the music. It's flowing in whatever ways would be for that's good. So give me 1 second here. Okay, here we go. So let's see, where do we start here? Okay. Set some closing intentions. So, any and all healing energies that flow to you regarding this session, should it be in the highest good, I ask that they, continue to work however long it would be for the highest good until any shifts and changes that are completed are completed. I said they only work for the highest good. That session was only for the highest good, and that only was for the highest good occurs regarding it for you and for all involved. And of course, I'll just say it again, may only was for the highest good occur. You might want to take time to ground after that. I did end up using a bit more than Reiki. I used some other modalities and stuff too. So I mixed in some other things I was guided to mix in. So I'm all for the highest good, of course, always my intention, but I'd say that's it. You're welcome, guys. I hope that was good. Healing. Wrapped it up perfectly for you. Oh, you're welcome, guys. I'm glad it was beautiful. Thank you, Broken Storm. Thank you, Moni, for the compliment. You're welcome, Andy Pandy Pie, of course. Perfect. Such a great space for integrating everything. That honestly might be why they are having me do it more. Probably on top of I'd probably like to be doing it more, maybe, but we'll see. Just go with the guides or do my best to help so much. Perfect. Awesome. I'm glad that happened then. So guys, I so appreciate getting to do this live for you every Sunday. I so appreciate getting to see you guys, hang out with you guys, channel for you guys, readings, full channel mode, facilitate the Energy Healing Infused guitar. It was a blast, and I appreciate you guys, and I'm wishing the best for each of you respectively regarding all this and everything else. Of course, should be in your highest good, whatever it should be for the highest good. And I am so wishing you all okay. I will see you next week, and I'll hopefully see you before next week with other content and stuff. But regardless, you guys take care, okay? You have an amazing week too, Eddie Pandy Pie. I start the live at 3 p.m. North American Central Time on Sundays. Little Mandy Dandy. That might be a good piece of information to start putting places that are easier to find, because it is a consistent thing that I do or facilitate. So, all right, guys, I love ya, and I am signing out of the live for now. Okay, take care, and I will see you soon.